data and sort of analyze what's going on, because you see that there's a little spot right here where we may have some rotation. That's going to be very close to Walnut Hill. That's going to be moving over 97 and headed toward places like McDavid, Century, and areas like that. So this is going to be moving toward the northeast. Joseph, what are you seeing in that particular warning?
So it is radar indicated. Brooke and I had this earlier, Alan, across Mobile. So this is sort of the base level tornado warning that the Weather Service will give. And there's just enough rotation, as Alan has circled, to indicate and to give a tornado warning, that red polygon up there in Escambia County, Florida. We don't have any confirmation of a tornado on the ground, but I'll also tell you that this is in kind of a tricky spot for our weather spotters to see and confirm a tornado. It's going to move towards 97, I believe, was the road, Alan, and then as we work towards 29, McDavid up to Century, we'll have a better view of what exactly is going on that section of the line. You can see where Alan's left the radar. That red polygon is where we do have a potential tornado. Nothing confirmed on the ground. It's moving northeast at 40 miles per hour, so about the same speed as what we saw out of Mobile, Baldwin counties with the tornado warning about 30 minutes ago. It is just southwest of Bratt by about 10 miles, and then Atmore, it is 12 miles south. So this is kind of nestled in on the far northern end of Escambia County, Florida. And then if it were to continue at its current direction, this could be something down the line for areas like Jay, just south of Bruton and that northwest end of Santa Rosa County. Not officially in a tornado warning here at 108, but downstream, this is the same line of storms that has had a history of producing tornadoes out west, Louisiana, Mississippi. Didn't get a confirmed tornado out of Alabama, but we certainly had that tornado warning and that wrap-up rotation. They're also watching for couplets and little areas of rotation, Alan, on the south end of this line. So we're talking southern Baldwin County and eventually us here in Pensacola. That end of the line is something that the Weather Service has come out and said they're a little concerned on potential rotation wrapping up. A lot of clean air on the south end of this line, Alan, coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, right there for portions of southwest Escambia County, Perdido Key, eventually Pensacola Beach. So that not under any warning at this point, but a concern at least downstream as this pushes into northwest Florida. So no update, no confirmed tornado on that north warning, Alan. Goes till, as you said, 1:30. We're going to keep an eye on radar trends. There actually is a decent little hook on the north end of it, just to the northeast of the Perdido on velocity, at least. Velocity is what's showing this little hook, this little ball of rotation. It's tough to see from your traditional radar. You can see how it's kind of bowing out towards Pineville, Walnut Hill. That's what the Weather Service is watching just west of 97. So it would be sort of the north end of the polygon where we're seeing most of the rotation, where Alan has circled. Atmore, you're not officially in this warning, but I would be in your safe area too. Along US 31, there in Escambia County, Alabama, you're not in this warning, but you're just north of it by about 5-6 miles. So I would be in your safe area because it looks like there is a little bit of a shakeup to where the at least tightest rotation is within this red polygon. Goes to 130, but anybody on the north or south end of this needs to obviously be in their safe area, keeping an eye on this. And watching us here on WEAR News, this goes for another 20 minutes. So it's going to push towards Century and McDavid probably by the end of this warning. So if you're wondering about an ETA for Century and McDavid, that is about 1:25 to 1:30 this afternoon. That's when this end of the storm line will begin to push into the Century McDavid communities along US 29. Right now it's over 97. Latest radar scan you just gave me, Alan, looks a little bit broader, which is good news, but this has been the case the entire morning and afternoon. We'll have a tightening of rotation, and then 10 minutes later it'll broaden out. 10 minutes after that it'll tighten back up, and we're sort of seesawing back and forth with this rotation along this line. We've had several different warnings, all have kind of come sporadically, and it will probably not be the last. I'm looking down this line on Max 2 as well to see if there's any other pieces of rotation. I don't see anything on the south end of this line. So this is a pretty large line. It stretches from Century all the way down to southern Baldwin County. And there was a concern maybe of some broad rotation on the south end of this line. We're not seeing that at this time. So for now, everybody south of Century, south of McDavid, it's just going to be high winds, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, very heavy rainfall, possibly some penny-sized hail too. And then the tornado risk is sort of the lone spot up there in northern Escambia County from McDavid up to Century. That's the greatest area of concern right now on the north end of that severe thunderstorm warning, which is colored in yellow, by the way. We have lots of different color on this map. It can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming. The yellow polygon you see that includes Foley to Pensacola up to Century, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. It's wind-driven. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, that's the concern. The red polygon, red box, that's for a potential tornado. So it's kind of all-encompassing, this yellow box. There's a risk of a tornado along this line, but it would be wind as our top concern with a more localized tornado risk up there in Century. Alan?
Yeah, and this whole thing is basically moving, the whole thing is moving east. So it's moving in this direction, and if you're in, Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, it's on the way to you. It's already impacting areas around Escambia County. Like I said earlier, best thing to do is really just to kind of hang out in a safe spot until this passes over the area. So we've got a couple of alerts going on right now, a couple of warnings. One is this broader, very large, severe thunderstorm warning, which includes Baldwin, Escambia, and Santa Rosa counties. We'll have another one issued for Okaloosa County here early this afternoon. And then we have in the northern part of Escambia County, we do have our tornado warning, which is going on. That includes areas like Century here. It's on the way to places like that. I'll go ahead and just stop that right there. And you can see there's very heavy rain falling in those areas as well. Walnut Hill is in it, McDavid, McKinnon, places like that. You've got 97 right there running right through the middle of this polygon and this particular storm. So this is what we've been watching. A lot of times the taller the storm, the stronger it is. Let's take a look at this three-dimensional view too, and we'll see what we can see here on our radar. And, I've certainly seen taller storms. I mean, sometimes we have these afternoon summertime storms that pop up and they get way, way up there. But it's the rotation within these storms that we've been watching for and looking out for. And there is the one, that's the storm that is right there in the northern part of Escambia County, Florida, as well as that portion of Santa Rosa County that, it's kind of like on the way toward Jay, and that's what we're seeing. Just very, very heavy rain, very heavy precipitation, and the potential for some spinning. We'll go back again. I'm going to take it back to our velocity product. And, like what Joseph was mentioning, I mean, that does appear to be somewhat broad. I'm watching the feed from the National Weather Service, too, to see if they have any kind of indication as what they're going to do with this warning. But it looks like for now, they're going to leave this tornado warning in effect here until 1:30. So we'll hang out with you guys on the air now with you. But here's, what we're seeing. It's just a sort of a large area of rotation. Normally what you would look for is the green and the reds very, very close together, and that would indicate an area where you have particles like raindrops or whatever may be out there going in opposite directions, and it does seem to be somewhat wide at this time. So radar imagery also showing, this is a pretty heavy-duty line there. They've issued a special marine warning too. Obviously for mariners, this would be a huge threat with these kinds of damaging winds headed out over those waters. And this is striking Gulf Shores, areas around Orange Beach, Perdido Key, right on around Perdido Bay, and this continues just to move east, and it's moving east at a good 40 miles per hour or so is what we're seeing. So yeah, with these with these winds and the potential for damaging winds, that's what we're going to be seeing. Something that Joseph and I were discussing a little bit earlier on, I wanted to show you that and show you what the Storm Prediction Center has done here. So let's take a look here. Jack, you bring me to the key here. So this is what we call the severe weather outlook. And when we're in these situations, we end up with level 1 through 5. So as we take a look at this, you can see we've got at the top here 1 through 5. We see the green, the marginal, pretty frequently around here. I mean, that happens. We get the marginal as we're expecting some thunderstorms. Occasionally we get the slight, no surprise with that. Yesterday we were under the enhanced for today, not yesterday, but for today. And then at around 11:30 this morning, the Storm Prediction Center changed it and upgraded us to a moderate risk of severe weather. That is a 4 out of 5 on our scale. And the storms are striking right here in this area right now at this time. So when that happens, and this is pretty rare, I mean, I would say there are sometimes maybe a year where we go through the whole year without seeing a moderate risk at all, or maybe we see it once, maybe twice a year. That's how often I tend to see this locally for us, and we've got it on the map right here for today. A watch versus a warning. So we've got both occurring right now. A watch is when we're looking out for bad weather. So we're looking out for the possibility. It sort of includes a larger area on the map if you're looking at it like that. And then a warning is when we have more imminent danger. That's when it's happening or is likely to be happening, either a tornado. In the case of a tornado warning, either it's been indicated by radar or it's actually been spotted. So a warning is the one that's sort of more serious, more severe. A watch means we're looking out for things. So our tornado watch continues until 5 o'clock. Our tornado warning continues here for 13 more minutes here over the northern part of Santa Rosa and Escambia counties, unless that gets dropped. And of course, the best thing to do when you're in a warning, if you're up there in the northern part of Escambia County, is to be in a centralized area, away from doors and windows. You want to be on the lowest level of the building, and you want to be not near the doors or windows. And also, say this is your spot right here. This looks like an interior bathroom, which would be a good spot. It's away from doors and windows. It's on the lowest level of the structure. You want to have shoes with you, because if you were to end up having damage done to your house or your building, wherever you are, you want to have shoes and anything that might otherwise protect you, because if something does hit and you need to be sort of getting out of that safe area, there might be debris and such around or outside, and you want to be able to protect yourself from that. So shoes are one of the number one things you'd want to be looking out for in that scenario. So again, as we look at our radar imagery on a kind of a wide view here, you'll see that we've got this line right here. This is likely to be the worst of it. So it's coming in a little bit earlier than I had originally thought last night when we were broadcasting. I was thinking more like 2 o'clock. Here it is, not quite 2 o'clock. We're at about 1:20, and now we've got the line impacting Baldwin and Escambia counties in southwest Alabama and northwest Florida. It's prompted that tornado warning until 1:30 for the northern part of the county there, a little part of Santa Rosa in there as well. And then there's the severe thunderstorm warning. So both of these are warnings, meaning that there is an imminent danger. Damaging winds are the main threat from this, but potentially a tornado in the northern part there, right up there around the Florida-Alabama line, is what we're looking at with that particular cell right there. So this is that velocity data in motion, and this is what we're seeing, just that potential for. This is a loop here. Looks like it's going back over the last hour, and you can see it shifting on in. They've trimmed that up a little bit, so the National Weather Service has changed our polygon, trimming off the back edge of it. So now it's closer toward 97 and including Century and this little sliver of Santa Rosa County that's really not too far away from J. But looking at this, it does appear this would be the spot right there where the potential tornado could be, as it is radar indicated. And then looking on down the line, hearing thunder here at our station, looking on down the line, you can see that I'm just not really spotting here any areas that look like we're seeing rotation. So what this is going to be is just a big time thunderstorm moving through with that potential for damaging winds. That's what we're seeing with that. So yeah, the last image right there, where you've got those green colors and red colors butted up together, that's what you're looking for, and that's where you have the potential for that tornado. Now we're using the radar site out of Mobile. You can see the site right here. So it's at the airport. If you've ever been out there, you can see it. It's it looks like a giant golf ball, and that's where it is right there. The top, right above it, we call that the cone of silence. So we're not seeing data from directly above the radar, but what it's doing is it's detecting particles that are headed toward the radar and away from the radar. So the green colors are headed toward the radar, and the red colors are headed away from the radar. So when you get those going, in opposite directions very close together, that would indicate the potential for rotation. And that's what we're seeing right now, as we look toward Highway 29. I mean, it's really closing in on that area. Let me zoom it in a little closer so we can get really specific on what we're seeing here with this particular cell here. Yeah. Hang on, can you bring up Joseph's mic, please? I don't think you're up yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
They've mentioned that it has tightened up a little bit. We're starting to get further away from the radar site in Mobile, so we might start to get a little bit better view out of Eglin. I have both. We have one radar site all the way at Eglin. We have one in Mobile, and this one right over McDavid right now has tightened quite a bit over the last, I'd say, 6 or 7 radar scans. The last couple minutes, US 29, it's right overhead, really between McDavid and Century. You need to be in your safe area. As Alan said, this is at the lowest point of your house, away from windows, most interior location in this area that Alan has shaded in red. And we do have this little notch there, that green and red color on velocity, showing that we have the outbound and inbound winds tightly butted up against each other. So that green wind is pushing out to the west as Alan is drawing. That red is blowing east, and when you add those components together, you get a counterclockwise rotation tightly there along US 29, pushing to the east at about 40 miles per hour. So this is quickly moving across Escambia County, eventually over the river. You're not in the warning right now, Jay, but if this continues as it is, Floamington down to 164, some of those roads, Jay, we could see this extended into Santa Rosa County, or further into Santa Rosa County to be more accurate. It does include the extreme western portions or northwestern portions of Santa Rosa County. So the Weather Service sort of weighing that. They've seen that this has tightened over the last 5 minutes or so. Warning, Alan, goes till 1:30. I would agree. I think they're going to keep this all the way to the end.
Yep.
And if they go past that 1:30 mark, of course, we'll get it here live on air. And we'll stay live on air in case this is extended. But if there were any type of theoretical addition to this tornado warning, it would likely include Floamington or very close to it, Jay, and then some of those southern areas of Escambia County, Alabama. Bruton, I would be keeping an eye on this too. You are sort of on the fringe there on this line of storms, but this has shown a history. This produced a tornado warning off into Mobile. You can see Alan giving some of the roads there. Essentially, everybody in Century needs to be in their safe area. Everybody in McDavid needs to be in their safe area. It's a pretty large, broad rotation. It has tightened up a little bit, but when you think about this in terms of miles, this is still a pretty large square that Alan is showing you across Escambia County as he reloads everything.
Yeah, let's take it, Joseph. Let you take Max 2. Jack, if you don't mind, switch it over. I'm going to give this. We've been beating up this computer all morning. I'm going to give it a reboot now over here. But if we can go to Max 2.
Yeah, and I'm ready
Joseph,
for Max 2.
There we go. All right, I'm gonna sort this one out. Joseph, you take it away on that one for a little bit.
So you might notice that some of our colors have changed here. If you've been watching this all the way since the beginning, our colors have changed. It's because I'm using a different radar site from all the way at Eglin. So this is Walton County on the eastern side of our viewing area. So as these storms move from west to east, we're going to start to hang on to our eastern radar site to do most of the heavy lifting. And this shows a little bit further up in the storm, and there still is a pretty decent rotation wrapped around. I'm using the red color. I'm actually going to change back to our traditional yellow color here and kind of draw this in. Right there between Century and McDavid, as Alan was talking about, is the area of most concern. It has tightened up quite a bit, and this is pushing off to the northeast. Let me put a loop on this. Sometimes it's best just to see where this is going in motion. So you can see it has more of a northeasterly component at this point. It was east, now it's northeast. So yeah, I would say if you're up in Floamington and you're watching us there in Escambia County, Alabama, I would start to think about heading into your safe area. At the very least, this is going to be some pretty intense wind that pushes in. Jay, it's going to be very close as well. You're not under tornado warning either of these towns, but with it moving as quickly as it is, 40 to 50 miles per hour, it kind of has gone back and forth over the last hour or so. I would just be prepared for this, and I would start thinking about getting to your safe area. Let this pass. This is nasty weather any way you slice it, and it's good just to let this thing kind of push through, and then you can kind of go on with your day later. I'm going to jump back to our radar. This is typically what people are most used to seeing on a weathercast, and you can see it's a mess. I mean, if you just looked at this point blank on a radar, you wouldn't know there was a tornado warning up there near Century and McDavid. It's such a messy line of storms, but within it we have some pretty complex dynamics and wind swirling through this, and it's been the north end of this line that has had the best tornado risk. There still is a risk for tornadoes as we go down 29 towards Cantonment, Pensacola, Milton, Gulf Breeze, all of us here, but for now it's just your typical heavy thunderstorm, some gusty winds, possibly 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts here across Escambia County and Santa Rosa County on the south end. We'll work to get some confirmation on the wind gusts as it pushes through. If you're watching from Escambia County, Florida, us here in Pensacola, we've heard the thunder already, seen some of the lightning. Just hang out. Let this blast on through. We know how to deal with this, right? The summertime we'll get these type of storms on an isolated level. It seems like every afternoon. This is just a little bit more of a larger system, obviously pushing through. So we're experts at dealing with this, but now is the time to be indoors. Let this run through, and you can hang out. Nobody will fault you for staying home this afternoon as these storms persist. And this is going to be something that sticks with us for quite a bit. I mean, this is the line of storms that's moving in right now, sort of the strongest batch of storms we'll see the entire day. But as I put on a more wide-reaching radar sight, as we work back off to the west towards Louisiana, I mean, this is such a large system. So we have lots of heavy rainfall on the way that's going to continue to stream in across portions of northwest Florida. You might be wondering, by the way, I'm going to take radar off. You might be wondering what all of these sort of maroon or dark red boxes are across Mississippi, Louisiana, even portions of Alabama. These are flash flood warnings. I mean, there's more of this on the map than there are severe thunderstorm warnings at this point, tornado warnings. So flooding could quickly become a top concern tonight. I believe Alan showed a weather model yesterday that had 9 inches of rain. It's a very isolated prediction in some small spots, but 6 to 8 inches of rain in some of these spots is not far-fetched, especially when you get the initial blast of storms like we're seeing right now, followed by all that extra stuff you see off to the southwest. So not the best day, not the best afternoon or even evening to be out. Officially, our tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock this late afternoon and evening. So
yeah,
our severe risk will
yeah,
go
I could
on.
show you that. Also, it will.
Let's go back to Max 1.
Yeah, and let's take a look at that. This is the model. Yeah, yesterday afternoon it was showing like 5 inches in a lot of areas, and then like 6, 7, 8, 9 for a couple of isolated spots. It backed off last night, and now it is kind of gone back into the, let's call it the 2 to 5 inch range, right, as we take a look at it on that particular model. So we've got rain and heavy rain that is back toward the west. It's still going to be moving in, but the worst part of it is upon us at this time right now. That's what's moving in. And, look, as we were looking at that rotation, and we'll go back to that, I think there is a chance we're going to see another tornado warning certainly issued for portions of northwest Florida. We'll see. We'll see what the National Weather Service says. Right now, that tornado warning is continuing here for about another minute and a half, and we'll see what ends up happening with that. But we could ultimately see something that kind of extends out a little bit farther that would include Santa Rosa. Well, maybe not Santa Rosa, but maybe Escambia, Alabama. So we're going to be watching for that, as it looks like the worst part of that storm is headed toward Bruton. Even if there isn't a tornado, say at the surface within this little area, this is a spot that certainly could have damaging winds, with it as that storm is moving through. And we do have, multiple alerts for that. We've got the tornado watch continues until 5 o'clock. So this is showing the areas just included within that watch. We're looking at northwest Florida and Baldwin County, Escambia, Alabama, on up toward Conecuh County. Now, they have dropped the watch for some of these areas of southwest Alabama. So even though there's a lot still behind it, the threat doesn't seem as great. These counties over here, these are warned by New Orleans, the National Weather Service office out of New Orleans. So it looks like they just haven't made the decision yet to drop those counties from it. But it looks like Mobile has dropped, these counties, including Mobile County, from that watch and from that threat area. Because the worst of the weather, I mean, it's right here over northwest Florida. It's on top of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. The wind, too, is really howling. We've got a wind advisory as well. It is just howling here out of the southeast. That'll end up shifting to more of a south wind here a little bit later on this evening, and then shifting late tonight and overnight as we take a look at that. So the warning, the cell right there, we will see, looks like, yeah, so we've hit 130, and that they have dropped that tornado warning for the northern part of Escambia, Florida, as well as northern Santa Rosa County. So that means that we're not necessarily seeing a threat when it comes to an actual tornado, but there is the possibility that there will be damaging winds, because we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning for that particular area. And you can see it right there on our map, that polygon that includes our warning. You can see all of our alerts here. There's our warning. We've got our watches on the map as well. So really very active pattern is what we've been seeing here this afternoon, and we're seeing it right now. We'll keep watching this velocity data, but looking on down through that storm, not seeing anything that's showing up at this time that would indicate necessarily a tornado in the area. I hope I'm not going too fast with on all this radar imagery with you. And again, I wanted to remind folks that we will be live streaming on our website, weartv.com. So if for some reason, say, a wind gust knocks out power to your area, you can have your device charged up, go on your phone, your tablet, whatever you may have, and check us out. Check us out online at weartv.com. So this map right here shows, this would show only tornado warnings, and we're just not seeing anything on that map. So that's good news at this time, as far as that goes. I'm going to head back to the key here, Jack, and we'll take a look at some of this radar imagery again. As you can see, this is just a big, huge storm system, a lot of rain. So we are looking at several inches of rain. This is the overall bigger picture right here. This is the worst of it on top of us at this time. So as this continues to move on, moving east at around 40, 45 miles per hour, it'll move over Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, and ultimately Walton counties. And then what we'll have back behind it should be a threat that may not be quite as high. Now, we could still see some stuff, as this is shifting from Lake Pontchartrain toward Mississippi. We still could see some active weather in that if that does sort of head up in this direction and move on shore. So that's what we're going to continue to watch out for as we move through the afternoon hours. But right now, it appears this is going to be the worst of it with that threat for damaging winds. And looking back through time, back through the morning hours and back through last night, back toward Louisiana and areas like that, Mississippi, the history has mainly been damaging winds. We haven't really seen tornadoes and strong tornadoes in the history reports, but it's been damaging winds. We're talking wind gusts that, could be 60, 70, 80 miles per hour with this particular storm, batch of storms that is moving through the area. Here again, both radar and lightning detection on this particular map, tons and tons of lightning strikes. So you're going to be hearing the thunder, seeing the flashes of lightning as this continues moving over northwest Florida. So we're not under any tornado warnings at the time, but we are under a severe thunderstorm warning, as well as a tornado watch, which is going to continue until 5 o'clock for that tornado watch. We'll see what happens with that, as it may we may see some of the counties dropped sooner from that watch, and we'll, of course, have our newscast, WAR News at 4, at 5, and 6. And if you hear of anything in your neighborhood that's happened, or if you know of anything, let us know. One way to reach me, super easy, and I can see it right there on my computer, is email. astrom@weartv.com. I heard from some folks about the solar eclipse, had some pictures and things like that, and was glad to hear that. Go ahead, Joseph has something he wants to bring up.
Well, that's what you'll hear on your phone if you get a tornado warning, and we are under tornado warning here in Pensacola, so that's going off for a good reason. Obviously, you're hearing it on our phones. This is a new tornado warning for Pensacola itself. Escambia County under this warning till 2 o'clock, Alan. So this includes downtown Pensacola, or just north of downtown, up towards Ferry Pass, Pace, Milton. This is a Santa Rosa County warning as well. As you were talking, Alan, I was seeing a little bit of, let's call it undulation along this line on velocity. This line had been sort of a perfect bow, for about the last 30 minutes. And I noticed here over the last 5 minutes, the bow was starting to get a little bit bumpy. And when you see bumps in the velocity, you can't really see it on radar, but when you go to the velocity and you look at this line, there are some little divots starting to form. You pause it right there at 134. You see what I'm talking about there, Alan, on the west side of Pensacola, should say northwest, Bellevue, Interstate 10. That's just enough of a little divot there in Bellevue to warrant a quick spin-up tornado warning. There is not a confirmed tornado, but in these type of situations, you could get something really quick, and the Weather Service was on that very fast. So we're going to see how this evolves as it pushes over the area. This is through Ferry Pass, this is Bellevue, this is Ensley, Pensacola itself. It's just north of downtown, but if you're watching us from the water, Pensacola Bay, get into your safe area. This is all the same line of storms. Rolls up to Pace, over the bridge, over to Milton. This is till 2 o'clock, so if you're watching from Pace and Milton, you're going to see this start to move into your area by about 1:50, 2 o'clock. You can see some of those roads. I mean, this is all of Bellevue, Bellevue
Yeah,
Ave.
that's right up there by, this is kind of where the
96.
Publix is up
Yep,
around
that's right.
the Bellevue area. There's a Publix up there. We are, this is going to be basically crossing over Mobile Highway. It looks like it, if it hasn't already done so. And it's, this one is, it's eastbound, and this includes, just the heart of Pensacola, our area of Pensacola within this area for this particular tornado warning. So, definitely go ahead and just, it's radar indicated, but go ahead and, head in your safe spot and be in your safe spot here. This is, this is just really the bulk of Pensacola from downtown up through, and toward Cantonment, Inslee, Ferry Pass, Brent, all those areas. So, that's right there. There's Mobile Highway, that we're looking at, Bellevue area. Let's see if we can find Longleaf Drive, up by the schools up there.
That's right. West Pensacola up north. This is going to pass close to the station too.
Yeah, that's very close to where we are. I'll give you an idea where we are. We're basically right in where we are at the studios.
It's just north of us.
Are
Yeah.
just right in this area here. And yeah, that's very, very, very close to us. So we're in a studio that is reinforced, thankfully, our spot right here, and we do have a safe spot that we've talked about, and a place where we go. So this one, this particular tornado warning, this runs until 2 o'clock, and data on it. As we continue to look at it, yeah, I mean, so the polygon stretches all the way over towards Santa Rosa County as well. So if the phone, you may have heard our phones going off. I think that's a good thing. That's one way. A lot of people don't have weather radios anymore, and now with the telephones, we can hear those alerts and know that something is going on. You often hear them with amber alerts, but they'll happen with tornado warnings. They happened too during the Blue Angels Air Show last year out at Pensacola Beach, as there was a strong storm, and the county used that to notify people out on the beach that the storm was coming through, and to go ahead and find a safe spot out there at Pensacola Beach. I think it'd be a good thing to use for rip currents as well, as rip currents here locally are our #1 weather killer. But that's the hot spot that we're looking at right there over Bellevue in Pensacola. It's on the west side of Pensacola, and this is moving toward the east, and these have been moving east at about 40, 45 miles per hour is what we've been seeing with these particular cells. So if we take a look at this and sort of map this out, we can take it on out. That's a little bit of a broad cone right there, but anyway, it's going to be, it's basically going to be moving through the Pensacola area and shifting on in that direction here as we head. Let's move it this way.
Yeah, it's east-northeast along that line, so that's a pretty straight track there. It looks like it has tightened up as well. We're getting a little bit of distortion as we move away from that radar site in Mobile. So it's in sort of a dead zone. Santa Rosa County is kind of a tough spot for radar coverage. Looks like it has tightened up though. I have somebody in Ferry Pass. They'll let me know what they see, Alan, here over the next 5 minutes or so as it pushes through. But it looks like Ferry Pass, right along Interstate 10, Davis Highway, 9 Mile Road, some of those spots on the north end of Pensacola. We can call it Pensacola, but it's really Brent and Ferry Pass and Inslee. They're the ones that are essentially over the worst of the rotation, so to speak. This is not a confirmed tornado. We haven't gotten that confirmation yet, but this is a very tight rotation. And in these cases, like I said with Brooke, where there's smoke, there can sometimes be fire. It's not always a certainty, but there's just enough there where a well-warranted tornado warning, Alan.
Yeah, and this is radar indicated. And what we're looking at here, so this is Interstate 10 right here, and then you've got 110 here, and we're seeing, a little bit of new data here that this is likely where the worst part is. So this is going to be up by West Florida Hospital, up in that area, the Ferry Pass area. Schools are out, so hopefully whomever's home that's in this polygon has just headed to a safe area. But that's where it appears to be. Now, there could be damaging winds, away from this little area here. This is, kind of that area up around Davis Highway and where the 110 and the 10 come together there in Pensacola, in the northern part of Pensacola, but the polygon does extend here. You can see from, on up toward Cantonment and then all the way down close to or right around downtown Pensacola. Really, it looks like around Garden Street down there in Pensacola. So this is what we're looking at right here in this area. So likely probably right on top of Interstate 10 and in that area near West Florida Hospital and in those communities around there. So yeah, this is moving toward the east or east-northeast. These are moving at 40, 45 miles per hour. And that, again, is that spot we're checking out right there as we look at some of this imagery here. And again, this is velocity data. So what we're specifically looking for is to give information as to really where the location of this particular potential tornado is as its radar indicated. If you're just joining us, we're live on the air here from the WEAR TV studios. We are taking you through this severe weather event as a batch of thunderstorms is moving in. We have a tornado watch that's continuing until 5 o'clock, though it may be dropped because these storms are moving through a little bit more quickly and a little sooner. The most significant thing we have now is a tornado warning here until 2 o'clock for areas of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties. That does include Milton, as well as Pensacola and on up toward Ferry Pass and areas around there. The severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 2:30. It's a much larger area where we're looking at the potential for damaging winds. Those damaging winds could be on the order of 60, 70 miles per hour here for those areas of Northwest Florida. We had a shot too we've seen a lot of heavy rain, and we're seeing some, back toward Mobile, there's a flash flood warning. In fact, we were seeing some flooding around the causeway. Can we pop that shot up and see what's going on there? If not, you just pop it up here in a second. We'll take a look at that, and I'll continue to show you what's going on with our radar imagery. So on this, we've got just a tremendous amount of data. We've got there you go. That's what was happening at the causeway. So they had some very heavy rain. So this area floods a lot, but apparently some people got stuck and they got in deep water, and those cars, it was deeper earlier on because the heavy rain now is over folks here in Northwest Florida in Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, but it was a bit deeper and some cars ended up getting flooded out and stalling out. So they're taking care of that around the causeway in Mobile. So that's something that we may end up with around here is the potential for some street flooding. First thing that comes to mind is the 17th Avenue train trestle. We're going to have some very heavy rain coming down. That area tends to flood. So the National Weather Service has a saying, turn around, don't drown, because cars will stall out and they can float very easily in not a whole lot of water. So Interstate 10 looks like traffic is pretty heavy as well there. Lots of tractor trailers there, moving in and out of the Mobile area where it's still raining there, but the rain isn't as heavy. So on this map, you can see from Mississippi over the Alabama-Mississippi line, a flash flood warning in effect. And then the intense storms now have shifted into Northwest Florida, and a tornado warning has been issued for Pensacola, Milton, areas of Escambia and Santa Rosa counties where you see this red area. So if your phone went off and you decided to turn on the TV, thanks for joining us. We want to give you as much information as possible. We'll let you know that this is a Doppler radar indicated tornado at this time. If you happen to notice damage or you know somebody who has noticed any, we'd like to hear about it. I was mentioning earlier, one of the best ways to reach me is astrum@weartv.com. I'd like to hear what's happening in your neighborhood. You can send me some photos. The best way for us to actually get those on air, if you do have photos and videos, is to send them to Chime In. I find it easy. You just I go on my phone to the website, weartv.com, look around for it or click the menu, and then you can click Chime In. You click there, you upload the photos or the videos that you want to share with us, and then that gives us permission automatically to go ahead and use them on the air. We have to have permission from you saying that you own the photos, that you're okay with us airing them, and then we can put them on the air, and that Chime In will allow us to do that. So head to our website, weartv.com, click on Chime In, upload your photos and videos, and we'll share them. We get a lot. We can't share them all, but we'd like to see them either way, so please do that. I know Joseph goes through those files and checks things out, posts a lot of those up as well, especially beautiful sunsets and things that we have here across the northern Gulf Coast. The tornado watch in effect until 5. We have seen some areas dropped in areas of Mississippi and southwest Alabama from that because the threat is greatest here over northwest Florida and southwest Alabama. It's officially in effect until 5, but that may change, and we'll certainly be letting you know about the changes to that tornado watch. There's also a little, and I'll show again on radar, back toward areas of Louisiana and out over the Gulf that could swing onshore and might bring a little bit of trouble. I'm talking about this spot Here's Biloxi, Mississippi. You know, we've got Lake Pontchartrain there, New Orleans down here, and there's just a batch right there that may kind of ride along the coastline, and that's something that we'll be watching out for. Hopefully it would just be rainy weather, but this is a batch that's going to bring us several inches of rain, and we could see some flooding with this as it does move through. You know, sometimes these move through a little faster and the rain isn't as heavy, but in this case, we are seeing certainly some pretty heavy rainfall. All right, they changed the tornado warning here a little bit.
Yeah, they trimmed it up.
And yeah, they've trimmed that up a little bit. So let's get a closer view of that and see what's going on with it. Because now if you're in your safe area, I want to let you know that, you know, for the folks that have been, a lot of times when people do this, what I hear, I hear people say, yeah, we just turned up the TV really loudly. We went into our interior, you know, bathroom hall area, our safe spot. We had our shoes with us, our bike helmets and things like that. And they said, we just turned it up. And it was really nice when you let us know that, that the threat was gone. So our studios are here on the west side, over kind of toward Bellevue on Mobile Highway. And originally we were talking about Bellevue, the Publix, near WEAR. Those areas are no longer under the tornado warning. You know, even, you know, it's kind of moving away from that area. Even around West Florida Hospital, you're kind of getting out of that threat zone as it's now shifting on up toward Pace and areas like on the way, you know, Interstate 10 that runs into Santa Rosa County in toward Milton. That's really more where the threat is. You know, even up on the northern part of Scenic Highway up there, it looks like it's really kind of moving away from that area. So. You know, if you're around the Ferry Pass area, as I check out this radar imagery, you may still be within that polygon, but you're on the western edge, and the threat really appears to be shifting now on up in toward the Pace area. I mean, we're looking at here around Pace. So if you're in Pace, I would certainly be in that safe spot. Just hang out there until, of course, this passes over the area as it is shifting up in this direction and shifting toward Milton, too. I mean, this is going to be moving through, obviously, very populated areas. We've had a lot of new construction up there around the Pace and Milton areas. A lot of people up there. You know, wonderful area here of Northwest Florida, but that appears to be where the worst part of the storm is, right there around Pace. So this, you know, Joseph mentioned, too, our radars and what we're using. This is the Eglin one. It's back here to the right if you look on our screen. And you know, this is kind of the outside edge of it. So now this velocity data, we are using the Eglin radar for that particular storm and with this velocity. Well, now it's switched back to Mobile. It depends on where the map is. That's going to be Eglin right there. And then as you see it clicks over toward a Mobile radar. Maybe getting a little bit deep into some of this, but just want to let you know that we're analyzing this radar data and taking a look at it to see what's going on for you and to let you know what's up. This has got a lot of information, a lot of data on this particular radar image. You know, we're looking at satellite radar, watches, warnings, and winds, which have been really howling out of the southeast, blowing particularly strong along those coastal areas. And then we have numerous flash flood alerts here. Those are the more maroon polygons that you're seeing. Sometimes it may be easy to get them confused with the tornado warning, but this is a pretty good example and a pretty good sample of the two. You've got your tornado warning in a bright red color right there that is shifting into Santa Rosa County over Milton and Pace, Avalon Boulevard areas within that tornado warning as well. And then these areas back toward Mobile, where we saw the flooding in the causeway and such, those areas are under flash flood warnings, and those have sort of more of a maroon color showing up on our map here. So the severe thunderstorm watch also is taking on some changes too. You know, it runs until 2:30. Excuse me, severe thunderstorm warning. I may have said watch. I meant warning, and there is a very big difference. So like Century and Walnut Hill, you know, Atmore areas, even Cantonment, no longer under that severe thunderstorm warning at this time. So, all right, we've got some video. Let's take a look. I hear we've got some video. Okay, so this is as the rain was really coming down right outside the WEAR TV studios, and it may have been a similar scene for what you saw in your neighborhood. Yeah, it was coming down pretty good. Thunder and lightning, you know, our lightning detection, it wasn't indicating as many strikes as I thought we might have seen on a day like today with a threat level like this. That's our, by the way, that building you were just seeing there, that's our generator. We have a massive generator that will power the station, you know, so during hurricanes and things like that, we are powered up. We've got air conditioning, and we're good to go during hurricanes. And I was mentioning earlier, too, that one of the things to do is make sure you have your cell phone, your iPads, and things like that charged up, because what we'll do is we'll broadcast, and we are right now, I'm told, we're streaming on WEARTV.com. So let's say we have some damaging winds that knock out power to your area. You know, check us out right here on your charged device. You can just go on WEARTV.com, and we will be streaming that for you. I'm getting some text messages from people as well. Nothing major just yet. Getting some videos of the very heavy rain coming in. And I mentioned too that my email is an easy way to reach me. Let me see if anybody's shouted out to me on email while we're on the air here. See if we've got anybody who's said what's going on in their area. All right, we've got Nancy Rodriguez says, thank you for keeping us updated. Eric Hansen says he's going to keep an eye on things in Fox Run. Thank you for that. So yeah, Astrom at WEARTV.com. But yeah, we still have a tornado warning, so we're going to remain on the air so we can give you as much information as possible. This is going to be for areas around Pace and Milton, you know, on down Avalon Boulevard area. That's included as well. It appears that the worst part of it is in the northern part of this red polygon, you know, around the Pace area, right on the way toward Milton. This tornado warning is in effect until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then we do still have a severe thunderstorm warning that's this orange shaded area that's in effect until 2:30 this afternoon. So we're looking at this threat continuing, and the history with this has been mainly damaging winds. I mean, that's what we've been seeing back toward areas of Louisiana and into areas of Mississippi. There have been wind damage reports. The Storm Prediction Center will alert us to those and lets us know. You can look at a map with little dots, and they have mainly been those dots indicating wind damage. We are not seeing a lot of red dots here this afternoon and overnight and earlier this morning as well. So we'll hope that we don't end up with tornadoes, but we have a potential for it. We're seeing some rotation within this one around Pace and Milton, and that's why we're staying on here with you to let you know about what's going on with that. So this right here from really Jay right on down toward Milton, swinging back around toward Gulf Breeze is where the worst part of the storm is, with the potential for that rotation around Pace and Milton. Probably going to shift north of our peninsula there that juts out into the bay, and then this is going to continue to move on into Okaloosa County, and we'll be watching it for any rotation. So you folks, you know, from Crestview right on down toward Fort Walton Beach, right, areas around Destin, Mary Esther, Navarre, we'll watch it for rotation there too, and we'll be letting you know. So if your phones go off, you can always tune into us here live on the air on WEAR News, and we'll have our full newscast here, WEAR News at 4, 5, and 6, and we've got crews that will be assessing and seeing what's going on out there to let us know if anything was happening too. So this view again shows you where the warnings are, and then the radar imagery shows us where the heaviest of the rain is and where that is striking. Here it is with just satellite and radar imagery, really just hammering areas of Santa Rosa County at this time. You know, Gulf Breeze should be getting some heavy rain now out at Santa Rosa Island, you know, from Fort Pickens on down the road there, you know, through Peg Legs on down toward Portofino. We're going to be seeing some pretty heavy rain. Notice it's kind of twisting right there as we look at Alabama. They don't have as much of a threat. You know, a lot of times we see this up toward Birmingham and these areas of central Alabama, but it's actually a threat that is more down toward our southern areas. Let's see what you got here. Okay, a traffic light is down at Longleaf and Pine Forest. That was reported by EMS. Okay, so that's what we're going to be seeing as well as things like that. So traffic light down, maybe by, it sounds like by wind. Is the traffic light just out, or is wind taking it down?
It sounds like wind, and on Max 2, Alan, I have our wind gusts. It's 53 out of the airport in Pensacola. This is on the east side of town, so a little bit far away from Pine Forest, but this is right there at that severe limit. You know, 58, 59 and above, that's when you qualify for a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're right there. Pensacola seeing a 53 mile per hour wind gust, and this has been pretty wind driven. I have some people out of Ferry Pass not reporting any damage out there, but like Alan said, you can send us emails, you can send us messages on Facebook, Twitter, X, any way you can get to us to give us your storm reports safely. They will be appreciated. It goes a long way not only for us, but it goes a long way for the Weather Service there in Mobile to kind of confirm some of these warnings and some of these reports. So you can see the view of the tornado warning and the severe thunderstorm warning. The wind threat I'd say the main concern within that severe thunderstorm warning, and then the tornado risk continuing. I'd say it's Milton right now, Alan, with the bulk of what rotation is left, and there still is some rotation. It's getting a little bit messy across this stretch of Santa Rosa County because we're in between both of our radar sites. It's pretty broad, and that was the word from the Weather Service. So this is kind of broad. I'd say this is more of a wind risk right now out of Milton. You can see some of these highlighted colors here on the east side of town. So this is probably some pretty high wind coming in as we speak, or right over Milton, moving out of Milton as we look at the reports. And yes, it seems like the rotation's so broad, in fact, Alan, they're going to let this expire at 2 o'clock. So a couple more minutes left on this, and they're going to let this expire at 2. Not really seeing anything tight enough to continue a warning into East Milton or continue a warning towards Holt into Okaloosa County. But if you are living in areas along Munson to Holt, Crestview, even the southern end of Okaloosa County, I would be prepared. This has had a history of producing sporadic tornado warnings, not necessarily tornadoes themselves, but still rotation nonetheless. And I believe we got something out of the beach cam.
Yeah, you can hardly see anything from our
goodness.
beach cam. Yeah, that's a camera we use every day. That is our Hardee's Beach Cam. Hilton at Pensacola Beach is where we keep the camera, and we are looking at just tremendous rainfall in that area. Thank you. I mean, it's just coming down.
That explains it. I mean, that's one side of the coin, Alan. We're under flood watch through tonight. So if it's not going to be the wind or tornado risk, it's just going to be terrible driving conditions, and obviously outdoor plans no go as we look there. I believe it just froze. That's the view from the.
That's Portofino.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. So we're looking kind of the other direction, and that view from Portofino, from Tower 3. There you can see the Gulf waters, and that's another thing too. They've got red flags flying.
Yep.
Obviously not a beach day for people down there, but. We're looking at basically just tremendous rainfall. Yeah, and those red flags, that again, we were looking at it yesterday. They had red flags out yesterday. It's our number one weather killer, our rip currents here across the northern Gulf Coast. That's what we look out for, and that kills more than all other weather events combined, zooming it out there a little bit. So let's kind of try to keep an eye on things here. I'll swing it back around as we look at our camera there. That's the farm of compressors there on top of Tower 3 that you can see such beautiful views out of Portofino. We have great views here from this camera as well. So we're shifting it back around here, now you're looking out toward the southwest and over the Gulf. And yeah, it just really is it's like the rain is just blowing all around. So it looks like it's quite windy there. As we check this view here from this camera, we also usually can get a pretty good view of the Santa Rosa Sound. So that's looking back toward the other towers. There's 4 right there. And there's the Santa Rosa Sound.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a pretty good view right there. Range Point is to the right. Can't really make it out too well there as we check out things right there. So that's a good view. Damaging winds really are our main threat here. The tornado warning is set to expire at 2 o'clock, so we'll see if another one gets issued. We're going to hang out, though, on the air with you for a while and talk you through this storm as it continues to move through the area. That view from, let's check the view from Destin, too. I'm going to switch it up here. Stuff is still on the way to Okaloosa County, so you folks are...
I'll load that up for you, Alan. So
it's showing black right now for some reason.
There's beach cam again. Let me look at Destin just to be sure. There's a lot going on right now. Let me see if I can get a Destin view up. It may not be available. And it looks like the Destin view is unavailable, at least temporarily. It might be wind or something going on there, but no view from Destin, although if you are watching from Okaloosa County, you probably have a pretty interesting view looking west. Dark skies, no doubt, on the western horizon there coming on in. And you guys are next in Okaloosa County with this tornado warning expiring in Milton and Santa Rosa County. We're likely going to see some of that start to move your way. And I believe Okaloosa County is under that severe thunderstorm warning now, at least a portion of Okaloosa County. So it's starting to move on in for our friends there in Crestview.
Yeah, slightly better visibility from our beach cam,
Right.
and you can see that traffic looks very light, which is good. I mean, it's just not the time to be roaming around in this storm. And let's go back to the Portofino cam, Jack, if you will. And you can see here how it looks like that's really, now it's shifted from that end of Santa Rosa Island back toward where the Hilton was, now toward Portofino where it's heavier and windier. Now we can't even see the Santa Rosa Sound, and it's just that's a live view. I mean, that is a live, that's one of our WeatherNet cameras. That is a live scene right there from Santa Rosa Island. Glad that they've got power and are able to transmit this. Let's just keep it right there. I'm getting some more emails in from different people. Let's see. Debbie Spann says that in Seminole, Alabama, had a 1.78 inches of rain. Going to end up seeing more than that as well. Debbie, thank you for that. Alan Pegg says, oh, and if you do send one anonymously, you might get a shout out. But let's see, Milton and Milton High School, very strong winds, extreme heavy rain in that area. Let's see, Meredith has sent me a video from Point Blackwater Bay. I'll look at that, Meredith, but again, for you folks, if you send videos and images, best way for us to get them on air, if you've got some good stuff, hit us up at Chime In. That's weartv.com. You look on the menu, you click Chime In, and then you can just easily upload your videos and your pictures, and that gives us automatically permission for us to air those videos and pictures. So hit us up at Chime In. But I love to see them here too. Email me, astrum@weartv.com, but I like to see them, but we could show them on TV when you go through Chime In, but I'll take a look at them. Vaughn, let's see, Berry Hill, heavy rain so far. We've got Trudy in Milton with some videos. Thank you for that. Let's see. That one doesn't have a name. Let's see what Carter says. Carter says, thanks for the updates. Hey, you are welcome, Carter. I've got one, all calm just off Kingsfield in Pensacola. However, my daughter texted me that tornado is, this is somebody saying that I guess the tornado warning, or they're saying around Chumuckla and the Pace area, and that's where we were seeing some of it. I'm going to show you the radar imagery again. You're looking at a view there right now of this, looking toward the Santa Rosa Sound, which you can't see from the top of Tower 3 out of Portofino Island Resort, which is out at Santa Rosa Island. I've got a picture here from LJ Porter. Looks like a river in the streets off Guilford near Davis Highway in Langley. Very heavy rain. Steve Jensen at Navarre Beach, and yeah, you're going to be seeing around Navarre Beach and Navarre some heavier rain headed your way. Let's see what Trudy says. It's starting to calm down now at Ski Watch Estates in Milton, and we've got John Bixby. Let's see, what percentage of precipitation are predicted and reported? Oh, yeah, it's a question about precipitation, but I can, one thing tell you about our percent chance of rain right now is 100%, no doubt about that. And we did bring it up to 100% yesterday when we knew that we were going to end up seeing this rain move through. This is a good shot. I'm going to come back to this here in just a second. That's where some of the heaviest rain is moving through, because I'm going to show you where that is on our map with radar. Give you a good shot here. So yeah, it's Santa Rosa County that's getting the worst of it. And the tornado warning also was allowed to expire. So we are not, I want to show you that too. Come on now. We're doing a lot. We're beating these computers up this afternoon, which is a good thing. So now this shows the severe thunderstorm warning. So this is this is now added on Okaloosa County. So we've got the tornado watch in effect, and we've got a severe thunderstorm warning. A warning is where there's a more imminent danger, and that's going to be damaging winds with this storm. So it's over Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, and that continues until 2:30. So again, back to the radar imagery, and we were pointing out, around the Portofino area, and I'll show you where that is. So it's right there, and our camera, let me pause this. There's so much data on here. Our camera is right there at Portofino. So Portofino is right here, and we are looking in this direction from Portofino. So all that heavy rain is going to be continuing to shift toward the east and move on toward, already it's closing in on Navarre Beach and Navarre. It's rolling down Interstate 10 from Munson through Milton. It's still just dumping. Crestview getting rain, thunder, and lightning, but the heaviest yet is still on the way to you folks in Okaloosa County. Down there in the Fort Walton Beach area too, heaviest is on the way. You're getting some of that light rain and such. Same thing out of Destin, not a lot happening. Joseph, did we end up getting, I'm going to go back to the Portofino cam as it's still moving through that area. And did you end up are we connected to the Destin cam?
It looks like it's off.
Okay.
Offline right now, unfortunately. That would have been a pretty awesome view looking west as the storms. It's really the only spot it's not raining. Light rain maybe in Destin, but that's the one location where we're not really seeing any alerts right now, that far southeastern part of Okaloosa County. So that's sort of the view that Alan was showing you from the Portofino. Tower 3, I believe, looking towards the sound side. Essentially the worst of it right now, moving through the Portofino. Navarre up next, the worst of it over Milton, East Milton right now. And next up is Okaloosa County.
Right. Yeah, and the rain was so heavy here from Portofino. Now we can kind of see here along the Santa Rosa, that runs out toward Range Point right there.
Sure.
We're getting a little bit better visibility, although it does look like potentially the camera has frozen up, actually. Well, I hate to see that because sometimes these get struck by lightning and they end up getting destroyed by lightning. That happened to us out at the Gulfarium, and we've got our beach cam up now. So that's a view of Santa Rosa Island, where you're seeing the heavy rain there from the top of the Hilton at Pensacola Beach. Yeah, I think hopefully we didn't lose permanently our Portofino cam.
It's still up, Alan. It just looks like maybe there's a connection problem with, and
you're seeing it on your end.
I'm
okay.
still seeing it on
All
my
right,
end.
good.
And I will say we have the Orange Beach view, which shows some pretty rough seas there on the Orange Beach side on WeatherNet too. So we have Orange Beach as well, although I will say Baldwin County, the worst of it has kind of pushed out of Baldwin County, but there is a nice view, if you want it, from WeatherNet of our Orange Beach camera, which the rain has come down considerably, but there's still a decent amount falling on our WeatherNet camera out of Orange Beach right now too. So that's the view from Allen on radar, and you can see sort of that line has pushed offshore, at least on the Alabama side, the worst of it, that is. It's still raining in Alabama, don't get me wrong, and it's going to continue to rain. So once this initial line is pushed through, this is going to become more of a flood concern. The rain rates will come down, but there will still be a persistent rain with us on top of what we're seeing right now through the rest of the afternoon. That's the view, by the way, from Orange Beach, by the way. So that's Orange Beach, Alabama, looking off towards the seas, and this is what Alan was talking about. Alan was talking about rip currents, our #1 killer. It was tough to see the rip currents because of just how much rain was falling, but this is a slightly better view of what's up at the beach right now. Obviously not the best beach day, as Alan said. We'll likely see seas like this continue into Thursday too, so if you're itching to head down there into the water, unfortunately, it's probably going to take until Friday until you get flags that fly yellow or green, and even then it might take a little bit longer. So real dangerous conditions. You know, year to year, rip currents are what we find as our #1 killer from weather-related fatalities. It's not tornadoes, wind, hurricanes, or tropical interests. It's actually rip currents year to year that we find on our sheets, unfortunately, from weather-related fatalities. So even when the sun comes out tomorrow, maybe even Friday, you might think it's all clear, you can head into the water, but it still might be dangerous out there. So the best way to kind of keep yourself safe is just look at the flag colors. If it's flying red and you're from out of town, red is typically when you cannot get in the Gulf of Mexico. And a view like that obviously can kind of speak for itself, but just be wary of things tomorrow and Friday if you are visiting from out of town. Make sure you're swimming near lifeguards, and make sure obviously conditions don't look like this, and that at least yellow flags are flying. Even with yellow flags, you can get into trouble. If you're not a very confident swimmer, I would wait till green flags fly Friday and through the weekend. Should be much better.
Joseph, I'm going to try. I've got some information from Mike Wood. He was texting me. Let me see if Mike, go ahead and talk. Let me see if I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Let's try speaker. All right, try again.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Okay, Mike Wood is with the Pensacola Police Department. We're live on the air right now, and you mentioned you're texting me and saying that there's some road closures around town. Can you let us know what you're seeing around town and what those closures are, please?
Yeah, Alan, it's the normal spot. 17th Avenue at the Trestle is one of the first to always get flooded. It is closed now. L and Garden, A and Garden, and N and Garden are also closed, as well as Scenic and Creighton. We will have these roadways opened up just as soon as the rain subsides and the water has a chance to drain.
Okay, has anybody made the decision to try to drive through those, and any cars stalled out or anything like that? I know that 17th Avenue, people that aren't aware of it do try to go through the water, and it doesn't work out so well.
Yeah, we've got one stalled on Garden Street now where the occupants are refusing to get out of their car. So we have officers en route to them to get them out of their vehicle. So we want people to turn around and don't drown. We've preached that for many years, and today is one of those days. So please don't drive through standing water. It can cause nothing but problems, and those tow trucks are expensive.
Right. Okay. So when you're mentioning on Garden Street, you mentioned N and A and some of those different areas. So it's mainly the intersection, or can somebody say pass from, Palafox down Garden toward the west, or is that for the most part shut down? And of course, I've been advising that people should hang out here until all this passes through the area. But yeah, what is it like on Garden right there?
Yeah, mostly it's involving westbound on Garden Street in the right-hand lane. That's what's going to flood first. There is flooding between those intersections, so we just want everybody to use caution. Use a different route. Cervantes is looking pretty good right now. It does tend to flood as well, and so does 9th Avenue. We're beginning to get information on some problems on 9th Avenue as well.
Okay, and the 17th Avenue trestle, so that's just like we normally see down there, it sounds like.
Yeah, just as soon as it quits raining, it drains very quickly. We'll have it open back up.
Okay, sounds good. Well, I think we've got more rain to come, Mike. I know you're working. I'll let you get back to work, but you're live here on WEAR TV. Thanks so much for chatting with us this afternoon. And I guess Public Information Officer is your title, or?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Mike Wood from PPD, thank you so much, and let us know if anything else comes up.
I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Some good information there from Mike Wood.
Yeah, and that's we mentioned that earlier too. We certainly see that. Go ahead. What you got?
Yeah, an update in Bellevue, not far from where we reported that light that was down on Pine Forest and Community Ave. There was a light down on Longleaf Community Ave near Bellevue. We also have a report that a residential structure sustained wind damage in that area in Bellevue from winds. 2 people reported inside of a residential structure trapped. They're on scene. No injuries have been reported, but they're getting them out of there. This is from ECFR. So this is in Bellevue. Had a report of some damage to a residential structure, likely from the winds. We don't really know any more than that and what happened, if it was a tree. And this was near the area where we did have a traffic light go down near Longleaf and Community Ave, sort of in that same area of Bellevue. So Bellevue was actually where we saw our initial tornado warning here on the Florida side of things, or at least on the Escambia County, Florida side of things down on the southern end. We had one warning up near McDavid and Century, but then we had a secondary tornado warning down here on the Pensacola side of things, on the southern side of things here in Escambia County. And Bellevue is where that tornado warning started, Alan, and we're getting a lot of reports of wind damage out that way. Weather Service will be out there over the next couple of days working to determine whether it was wind damage specifically or even a tornado. With a storm system like this, as Alan's showing you, as messy as it is, with persistent rain continuing as it is, it's going to be a little bit of a wait to determine whether or not it was a tornado. We need concrete evidence, video, pictures, or a storm spotter report to know if it was a tornado that pushed through Bellevue. But we'll get that information as soon as the Weather Service gets out here and takes a look at it. They're experts at determining the difference between wind and tornado damage. So we'll have a report out of that. But Bellevue seems to be where a lot of our, or at least wind damage reports coming. Again, a residential structure there in Bellevue sustaining damage from winds. 2 people reported inside. No injuries. They're getting helped out by ECFR. And this is sort of in the same area in Bellevue where we had a traffic light also come down because of those high winds on Longleaf and Community Ave, down with trees in that area as well. And if you get anything in your community, we'd love to see the video and pictures. Reports are very important to the Weather Service in Mobile as well. We just want you to get those reports to us safely on Chime In. Chime In is how we receive our videos, our pictures. You can go to Chime In at the top of our website, WEARTV.com. Top of the website, Chime In, and that's where you upload your video or pictures of damage. And please, again, do it safely. It's crucial to get this type of stuff for the Weather Service and for ourselves, so we know exactly what happened, but we want you to do it safely, so let these storms kind of push through. Still lots of lightning. If you're watching us from Santa Rosa County or even Okaloosa County and you have a report, I would wait for things to push through. Let this kind of move out. It's going to rain all afternoon for the most part and even into the evening, but the worst of the weather right now that you just don't want to be out in is currently occurring here across Northwest Florida, and as you heard from Mike Wood as well, some flooding concerns and some closures here in
this spot County. Right here, this is Navarre and Navarre Beach right there. So that very heavy rain is striking that area. And what I haven't seen are reports of hail. And as I look at this 3-dimensional view, basically as you go, the higher up, the colder it gets up here in the atmosphere, and that's when rain particles start to freeze and you end up with hail developing. And these thunderstorms don't look as tall as many thunderstorms we see here across the northern Gulf Coast. So the three-dimensional view gives us a little bit of an idea of the height, but we are seeing a lot of lightning, and that's that part of Santa Rosa County as we shift on up here toward Munson. Looks like, right on up Munson Highway toward Munson, we have a lot of lightning there, and that is all going to be shifting toward Crestview. I know it's raining pretty heavy in Crestview now, but it's going to intensify and get more intense as we head, right on through the next 30, 45 minutes or so as these storms are moving toward the east at about 45 miles per hour. All right, I'm getting a lot of emails in. I got one from Vicki Newton in Ferry Pass who says, our fence came down just as the tornado warning was ending. Sent a picture of the fence. It's a fence down there, so that's in the Ferry Pass area. Here's one from Michael Lockwood who says the Lockwoods are safe in Baycliff, Ferry Pass area. Huge storm came through, and now it's calm. If that is the Michael Lockwood I know, that's Michael the musician. Keep the music coming, my bro. We've got one from Derek here, says it's raining. Thank you for that. Debbie sent a video here. I'll take a look at that when I get a chance. I got another one from Derek. It's got some from Rocky Bayou saying that pretty scary situation there. Derek, thanks for that. Let's see, Randy Wood, he is our assignment manager here. He's just giving some information. I think that Joseph relayed. Randy Wood's a little camera shy, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I believe we also got, and I think we actually have some stuff loaded up right now, I believe, from Chime In. If that's available, if we have some pictures and video, and I think right there, Alan, seeing a little bit of flooding, a residential road, not sure exactly where that is, but picking up some water, obviously a wet view there from the backyard, it looks like. There's a view that's probably somewhere on the sound side. It looks like either one of the bays or one of the sounds. You can see the wind and the rain moving in. Safely inside, I like picture and video like this. When it's happening real time, it's always safe to be inside, or even when you're in a tornado warning, you shouldn't be doing reports at all. Look at this, actually, Alan. That's
where is this?
That might be in the Bellevue area. I'm trying to. It looped too quickly, but that looked like Longleaf. That looked like Longleaf and Community Ave in Bellevue, I believe. So, yeah, that was the location where we had some of those lights down and the trees down, obviously, and that was the same area where we had that residential structure.
Is Brent there right now? He is? Okay.
Is that something we can take live? We're working to get that. So our
let me give him just give him a call.
Our Brent Carney, is actually there in Escambia County. Alan's going to give him a call, and he can kind of fill in the blanks there. But yes, that's Longleaf, Community Ave, I believe, or at least in that area of Bellevue. That's wind damage, and the Weather Service will be out there, obviously, to determine what type of wind damage, and sort of the umbrella under that could possibly be tornado wind damage too. So that's something that will be ongoing over the next couple of days. It's not something that we can tell you right away. Was it a tornado? Was it wind damage? That's something that takes a little bit longer. The mic is, say that one more time, Jack.
Here, he can bring me back up.
Okay.
Ask him if he'll bring me
Yeah.
up. All right, so I got a hold of Brent Carney, who is where we saw that Chime In image of a tree down and such. Brent, where are you and what are you seeing?
Yeah, Alan, we're here on the corner of Longleaf Drive and Community Drive here in Escambia County. And right at the corner here, I believe this is in front of a school or some sort of bus lot.
Yes.
And there's just this massive tree that was just completely uprooted out of the ground. It's now hanging on some power lines. There's some crews out here with the sheriff's office and Florida Power and Light trying to kind of gauge the situation as to what's going on. It's really a mess out here. There's limbs in the road. So, I mean, if people are traveling on the road right now, this is some of the things that you might run into along the way.
Okay. Yeah, we saw a picture that somebody sent in, and it looked like a pretty big mess up in that area. So, yeah, if you guys have a camera there, we'd love to see a little bit more and maybe talk to you. So, if you can set it up, we'll find out.
Yeah, we're working on getting our live unit all set up. So, stand by on that.
Okay, yeah, let us know what anybody's saying up there, and hopefully everybody's safe up there. But the threat has moved out of that area. Still may have some lightning, though, so look out for that.
All right, Alan.
All right, man. See you.
Just circling where he is in Bellevue. We'll get more of a specific view coming up in a little bit, but that was out of Bellevue. That's the western end of Escambia County, and that's where really things kicked off here for us on the southern end of Escambia County, Alan. That's right where the tornado warning initially popped as it pushed over the Perdido into Bellevue, and then kind of raced along Interstate 10 into Ferry Pass, Ensley, and then eventually towards Pace and Milton, where we have gotten a couple reports on the chat that we have with the National Weather Service. Got some reports of some fences down, a little bit of damage in some backyards out of Pace. Haven't seen anything out of Milton just yet. And it's still a really strong line, and I will caution for our friends in Crestview down 85 towards Niceville, Valpy, Fort Walton Beach, and even Destin eventually towards the 3 o'clock hour. This is still a severe thunderstorm. This line bringing some really intense rain. You saw Alan obviously showed that it's maybe not quite as high enough to support hail, but this is still going to be potentially 60 mile per hour wind gusts, obviously really heavy rainfall. As I go back to our velocity product just briefly, just to pop in and see if there's any couplets of rotation. And at this time, we're not really seeing anything too tight. So this is where the line of storms is on our traditional radar, and we're showing you underneath the traditional radar the velocity. There are some undulations. There may be some broad rotation along this line as it crosses from Santa Rosa to Okaloosa County, but nothing just yet that has warranted a tornado warning. But it could certainly happen. This little spot down here, for example,
right, that looks like where maybe there would be some damaging winds in that area.
Right, and then this is awfully close to some of the radar view we've had for tornado warnings. There are no tornado warnings right now, but this view and this spot down in the southwestern portion of Okaloosa County certainly has my eye. And I'll actually go jump back to the. I'm going to go jump back to the other computer here, Alan.
Yeah, take a look at that. I've got some messages from people. Donna Kirby,
Yep.
She's with the Blue Wahoos. She had something off of Scenic Heights that she sent. Looks like a little video there. She said to say hello as well, Joseph. Donna Kirby, I've got some other text messages. We've got Tammy Simmons said they made it through the outskirts of a nasty storm, and that was up Highway 29. Let's see. Junk mail. Let's see, we've got Suzanne who says, basically I think Suzanne is asking, like, it's showing a lot of lightning, but that they're not hearing as much thunder. Well, our lightning detection, and I can show you that, Suzanne. Let's take the radar off and I'll put the lightning on. Yeah, it does show a lot of lightning, but the amount of strikes here, we see sometimes a lot more than what we're seeing here. A lot of times it can completely cover up the map. But if we zoom in, say, to a certain area like this, these little icons are showing up a little on the large side. But the lightning could have been more intense, I'd say, but there's definitely thunder and lightning. It's occurring, and the bulk of that is going to be from around Navarre, right on up toward Munson, shifting over toward Holt, Crestview, Laurel Hill, areas like that, Fort Walton Beach, Destin. That's where we're seeing some strikes. Even though that strong part of the storm is moving over Santa Rosa and into Okaloosa counties now, there's still a lot of lightning back toward Mississippi and Louisiana, and we've still got more rain on the way. So this may turn into more of a flood threat here as we head right on through the rest of this afternoon and into this evening, because there's just a lot more rain that's back there. And you can see as we look at this map, there are just a ton of flash flood warnings. All of these little polygons here that are showing up in that maroon color are flash flood warnings, and we've seen a lot of that in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Mobile County. Almost the entire county of Mobile under a flash flood warning for that spot right there, as you can see with that polygon. It's really almost the entire county, and there's more rain that's going to be falling over those areas. It shouldn't be quite as intense as what we're seeing now over Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties, but we are looking at some tremendous rainfall that's going to be falling. All right. If you're just joining us, we are live here on the air from the WEAR TV studios. We're going to hang out here as the storm continues to pause or continues to make a threat and move into Okaloosa County. We want to look out for our friends that are around Destin, Fort Walton Beach, and Crestview, let you know what's going on with it. But for Milton and Pace and Pensacola, the worst of the weather has moved on, and those areas were under a tornado warning a bit earlier on, and we've seen some damage. We hope to bring you some more images, and if you have pictures and images, chime in, go to WEARTV.com, hit the menu and look for chime in, and we'll be able to see that. I'm hearing from people the best way to reach me is A Strum. My name's Alan Strum. I'm the chief meteorologist here, and it's astrum@weartv.com. Should be pretty easy to remember. If anything comes up in the future, just email me. If I don't hit you back and you've got something, hit me up again. But I try to reply to every single email I get, and we're reading through some of these right now. So there was a question from Suzanne about some of the thunder and lightning, and we've got a lot of lightning strikes, but not as much as we sometimes see. A lot of times when we get into more of the warm season, we see these taller, bigger thunderstorms, and those can produce damaging winds, as we know, as well. James, let's see, James has sent an image, James M. This is an image of a tree that was taken down apparently by the storm here. This is a community off Bellevue. So another area around Bellevue, and that's when the worst part of that storm looked. There's a Publix up there. It's right up the road from us here on Mobile Highway at WEAR TV. And we did, there was a tornado warning that popped up. It did look like there was some rotation. We don't know if this was done by actual wind gust or wind damage or an actual weak tornado, but it has caused some damage. I've got another one from Derek Kinley, just kind of describing some of the conditions outside. So astrum@weartv.com. I'd love to hear from you folks in Okaloosa County. I want everyone to stay safe. They have issued a new warning. It is a severe thunderstorm warning.
That's right.
For Okaloosa County. You got it in front of you, Joseph?
Yeah, it's a little bit messy. So we're running into something here. We have our weather office out of Mobile that handles most of our TV viewing area, Alan. But there's also a weather office on the east side of our viewing area that handles Walton County. It's Tallahassee. So we're getting kind of a mixture of polygons here. And so
so there's the heavy rain. You're looking at it right there. It's over the Okaloosa and Santa Rosa county line. Now, we reported around the Bellevue area some of what's been going on. That's basically kind of West Pensacola. Brent Carney was there. We talked to him live on the phone moments ago, and now we can see him. All right, we can see and hear you, Brent, so that's good. All right, show us what you got.
Yeah, Alan, the wind really did take a toll here in this area. Check this out. This is some pretty significant damage here. You've got this massive tree limb that's fallen right in this area. Crews are actively on the scene right now. You got the sheriff's office. You got Florida Power and Light. If you just walk with me, I'll kind of gauge. We're not going to get too close here, but check out this tree right over here. Just completely uprooted. I'm going to have my photographer, Marcus, zoom in on that. As you can see, the crews are actively trying to, assess the damage right now. I saw a lot of them bringing in chainsaws to try and clear this debris as quickly as you can, because as you can see, it is just an absolute mess right here. You've got the power lines down. Obviously, we're getting word that the power is off, so those people are safe over there, standing over there near those lines. But yeah, this is a very, whatever it was, the neighbors tell me that this was a very strong force of wind that came through here, and we are just learning from Florida Power and Light that just down the road from where we are, about a block away, there was a tree that fell on a mobile home. So we're going to be trying to go over there to see if everyone's okay and if everything is okay with there. But yeah, I mean, this is just kind of stunning stuff here as crews are, actively trying to, gauge the damage here as this storm, as Alan is saying, is still continuing to move through, and the rain is just relentless out here, just coming down like no tomorrow out here. On our way over to this area, we did encounter a little bit of flooding as well. So if you are on the roads, this is what you might run into. So be very careful, and if you can, stay home. Alan, Joseph, back to you.
Hey, Brent, I can see I didn't hear up all of what you said. You may have covered this, but I can see the traffic light looks to be operating and such behind you, and then I see the trees and such. Now, are you seeing, does it look like those trees have taken down some power lines and such? Because, of course, that can cause a hazard as well when the power lines end up on the ground, especially when there's water around. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, that's what we're seeing. There's a lot of puddling water over here, but it seems like crews have gotten under control. Check this out over here. You got that sheriff's deputy car actually kind of towing these branches off the road. So they're really trying to get these roads cleared as quickly as you can. But a lot of puddling, as Alan said. We're seeing a lot of puddling with some power lines down as well. But it seems crews are, being as safe as they can out here, given the conditions, Alan.
Okay, and there's some of that thunder I feel like I'm hearing in the background. All right, Brent Carney, keep us updated and let us know, if you move, where you go, and because we're gonna be hanging out on the air now while this moves over Okaloosa County and continues with a threat there and a severe thunderstorm warning there. But you can see that it looks like you're still getting a little bit of rain around that part, and there's still going to be some thunder and lightning. But the threat that we had earlier has moved on and out of that area. So take care and let us know what you find out, please.
All right, we'll do, man.
I've got a message here from Gulf Breeze, and this is saying to watch out for flooding on Gulf Breeze Parkway around the 200, 500, and 1100 blocks. There are officers on the scene at lane closures, so they're just basically asking people to use caution here on Gulf Breeze Parkway through Gulf Breeze, as there could be some flooding and there may be some lane closures and such like that. But of course, schools have had some changes here with this weather, and we are seeing some damage around the area. It's a lot of times all about the school buses and getting kids out and into a safe place. So that's why those decisions were made yesterday to change or cancel school, or to back off or have early release. And certainly with a storm like this, you know that's it makes things difficult, I know, for families at times, but sometimes it's a decision that's made out of caution, that those not an easy decision either that those administrators make. So we are looking at a severe thunderstorm warning over Okaloosa County. We've got a strong southeast breeze that is just howling along those coastal areas. The worst part of the weather is moving over Okaloosa County, and damaging winds will be possible. So that's what we've been seeing too, is the main threat, and the history of this storm has been damaging winds. As we've looked back toward areas toward the west, it's been wind damage. We have not seen much in the way of tornado reports. I'm checking now our storm reports here from the Storm Prediction Center, and it's a bunch of blue dots. There's maybe a hail report, a few hail reports, but we're not even really seeing much in the way of hail. We had listed that as one of the threats, which would be large hail, but we're not seeing much hail. In fact, I've been looking at a three-dimensional view. Oh, hang on, I'll bring that back up. There's our big storm, though. Still more rain behind it, too, and it may be heavy, but here it is. So you can see the lightning detection as well as radar imagery. This is right on top of Okaloosa County. You folks in Crestview really seeing some very heavy rain. Yeah, we for some reason, we don't have our Destin camera, or we bring you that view from the Destin cam, but we've had a couple of other camera views we bring in. And we're going to get our camera back up at the Gulf Arium. I talked to the folks, talked to the Merrills out at the Gulf Arium. They're going to help us get hooked up with that camera, so we'll bring you that good view. It was always such a nice view looking out over the pier at Okaloosa Island and what's going on there. So hopefully we'll have that hooked up, certainly as we head through this warm season, or maybe we'll get back up in the next week or so. So as you're looking at that, there's that storm. That is a three-dimensional view. So these storms would probably need to be a little taller to have hail, where it's getting up into the atmosphere where the weather's a little colder way up there. I mean, sometimes we have thunderstorms that just pop up in, say, June, and they'll pop way up there at or above 50,000 feet. And you can see the heaviest of the precipitation here, is running at and above 20,000 feet, with those cloud tops maxing out, according to this, at about 40,000 feet. But this thing is racing along. It's moving east at about 45 miles per hour, and it is bringing with it the threat for damaging winds. And that is what we've been seeing here across parts of Northwest Florida, damaging winds here. And there it is over Okaloosa County. It's headed toward Walton County as well. Now back toward the west, we've still got rainy weather, but this is just not looking as bad. We're just not seeing as much of a threat there. And some of this heavier stuff, that may move on shore, that's out over the Gulf, but that would be more for the coastal zones from Dauphin Island through Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, Perdido Key, maybe areas like Santa Rosa Island, Gulf Breeze. We'll be looking at that potential if that does end up shifting up toward the north. We had been examining our velocity data, especially with that tornado warning that had been issued. And we're not seeing anything like what Joseph was mentioning earlier, like those little couplets where you see the real close together red and bright green colors. We would look for that in an area like this, and that's just not an indication that we would be having a tornado, but that could be an area where we've got some very, very strong winds. That could be the case up in that spot. As far as the watch goes, it is a tornado watch, officially in effect until 5 o'clock, but that will be dropped sooner than that. So what the National Weather Service out of Mobile has done is they've alerted the people in Washington County, Mobile County, these areas of Mississippi, and they've said, hey, there's no longer a tornado threat, so they've dropped the tornado watch from those areas. They've left it up there in Baldwin County, although really the threat seems to be moving on, but I'm sure we'll see that change. Let me check in. We have a direct feed with those folks too. They are giving a couple of storm reports. We're looking at, let's see, some wind gust and such. There's the severe thunderstorm warning for Okaloosa. See if we can get some of the information out of that too. That's in effect until 3:30. We'll go back to that too. That's for Okaloosa County, so that's where the worst part of the storm is. You can see the information too posted on our screen. So severe thunderstorm warning until 3:30 for there, and it's right on top of Crestview, and it's down there around Mary Esther, Valparaiso, Fort Walton Beach, soon headed toward Niceville. The worst of it on the way to Niceville, on the way to areas like Destin. This one they're saying is moving northeast at about 50 miles per hour, and the hazard will be 60 mile per hour wind gust, penny-size hail, though we really haven't had reports of hail. I haven't seen anyone let us know about hail. I'll check on my email here again in just a second.
If you
what
want,
you got?
if you want, Alan, you can pop up, and this is more for our director, Jack. You can pop up our Max 2, and I can show you the available storm reports just from today.
Yeah, there we go.
This is in a partnership with the National Weather Service in Mobile. So we've had damage reports in Bellevue, and I just sent those off to the Weather Service. So what you'll see in about a half hour or so is we'll see one of these damage reports pop up in Bellevue. But right now, we're working to get that information to them, and then this will show up on our storm report page. But yeah, you can see some wind reports, some wind damage reports out of Santa Rosa County. We click on these and you can see exactly what they relate to. So reports of downed fences, damaged roofs in the Woodlands neighborhood at Pace. This was probably about 40 minutes ago or so. Here's some wind reports out of Oriole Beach. This is in Santa Rosa County, sort of that area near Garcon Point, 55 mile per hour gust there, kind of over the water. We have a weather flow station in that spot as well, near the Santa Rosa Sound, a 46 mile per hour wind gust. As we work back off to the west into Alabama, Alan, we actually did have some hail reports. It wasn't terribly large hail. I believe it was very small, walnut-sized hail. So that's probably about an inch, maybe a little bit less than an inch. So right near the severe limit there for what qualifies as severe hail. Same there at Fort Morgan, Alabama. This was about an hour and a half, 2 hours ago. So we had some hail reports out of Baldwin County. You can see some flooding reports too. The Causeway, no kidding, Pinto Island. US 90 along Interstate 10 had some more reports out of Bayou La Batre as well. The police department reporting that Shell Belt Road is impassable. That's likely still the case as rain continues in Mobile County. And then we have some reports of wind out of the downtown Mobile area. Brookley Field, I believe that's on the west side or south side, 66 mile per hour gust, 55 mile per hour gust near downtown. Some damage as well at Tillman's Corner from thunderstorms. And just widening out even more, Alan, you could see just how much more there was across Louisiana. I mean, this thing was pushing through East Texas and Louisiana. Midnight to now, you could see a lot more wind reports for Mississippi and Louisiana, although we'll likely fill up here across Alabama and Northwest Florida. We'll get our fill here, but you could see just how much stronger this was at points throughout the morning across Louisiana. You also see more hail reports out that way as well. They had much at least slightly better conditions. I'm not going to say much better conditions, but slightly better conditions for hail. But a lot of wind, a couple tornado reports. Slidell, I think near the New Orleans area, had a report of a tornado too. So pretty packed here across our storm report page. I'll throw it back to you, Alan. I got a report coming in from Jennifer.
Yeah, and I'm looking through email. We're getting more reports coming in. Let's see. We've got some that. Rich, thank you for sending those in to chime in. We're going to have our producers look for that. Pam Roberts has sent a picture of what's going on in that neighborhood. Let's see, that's 69th in Jackson, where there's a tree in the road. 69th in Jackson. I'm just looking at a picture that came from Pam Roberts. Thank you for that. Jennifer Pelfrey says it's getting nasty in Shalimar. Okay, you're in Okaloosa County. We're staying on the air here. A lot of times we're on for tornado warning specifically, but this has been a serious event. We know that it's changed people's days with school and such, and we just want to stay on the air until this moves through, let people know what's going on. So again, you see it right there in the middle of the screen. It's a severe thunderstorm warning for Okaloosa County, and yes, So Jennifer, you're in Shalimar, like I was saying earlier on the broadcast, live here from the WEAR studios. The best thing, hang out, in a good spot indoors. Wait till this passes over the area. We have had trees knocked down, some power lines down. And again, being away from doors and windows is the safest place to be. Even though it's not a tornado warning, it is a severe thunderstorm that's moving through the area. Let's see what Amanda Gardner said. All calm on Pace Boulevard and St. Mary. Thank you for that. William Huber, Longleaf Drive, traffic light. Yeah, we've heard about that one. I think we mentioned that one earlier as well. Let's see. Jim Stevens says lots of rain, some wind, mainly rain. Streets have water, but not flooded in that part of Navarre. So good to hear there. Sherry Sellers, fence down in that picture. Thank you. We've got Donald Reed sending in a couple of pictures. Donna from Choctawhatchee Bay has sent a video. All right, so you're at Choctawhatchee Bay. So Donna, you're in an area where the worst part of the storm is approaching. Now, if you all are not familiar with Choctawhatchee Bay, I'm zooming in on it right here. That is Choctawhatchee Bay right there. That body of water right here is Choctawhatchee Bay. So I don't see the video just yet, but I'll try to check it out later, Donna. But yeah, the worst part of the storm is headed toward, it's closing in on the western portion of the bay there, headed toward Crab Island off Destin and, moving right on through there. It's on top of Crestview at this time. Right on top of Crestview as it's shifting through those areas and headed toward Walton County as well. Let's see. We've got one from Stephanie Walker, wants to know about if there are any more severe bands that are going to be coming, or has the worst of it moved through. I don't have a location, but I can tell you, Stephanie, the worst of it has moved through Santa Rosa and Okaloosa counties. Hopefully we don't see anything trigger up from what's back here, but that's not looking likely. That's down there out over the Gulf. So it's just going to be rainy weather with thunder and lightning. The worst part of it is over Okaloosa County. So the folks there are dealing with it, from Crestview right on down to Fort Walton Beach, and it's going to continue shifting toward the east. It's one of the statements said it was moving northeast at, I think it was 50 miles per hour, but the whole thing, the whole basically batch is moving toward the east. So let's sort of map this out here, and you can see that it's shifting in that direction. So it'll be headed over Walton County. Those times may give you an estimate of when it's going to be moving in as we do check that out. It's closing in on areas like Destin. It'll be moving in on those other parts of Walton County and other parts of Northwest Florida. Let's see what else I've got here. Okay, we've got, this is from the Wright community, I suppose. Winds are gusting there. Yeah, we had some pretty good winds. Let's see, Todd Brown, thank you for the updates. Thank you for that email. We've got one from Andrea, who sent some videos. Thank you for sending those. Remember, chime in is the best way for us to get those on air. Head to our website, weartv.com, and click on chime in. The reason that's the best way for us to get them on air is because when you do that, you agree to give us permission to air that. It's a whole copyright thing and such. Let's see, Lori Janis, yes, you are welcome. Checking in from Pace. Lots of wind and rain there. The worst of it has moved out of Pace. Darby Camp says her sister in Milton got a report from a food delivery truck that people are stopping on the highway around 90 to watch the waves hitting the bridge. Interesting. All right, Britt Carney is in the field. We talked to him a little bit earlier, and he was in the Bellevue area, and he may have shifted. All right, Brent Carney, one of our reporters here at WEAR, tell us where you are and what you see, please.
Yeah, Alan, so we're here live on Cycle Drive, just about a block from where we were earlier with that uprooted tree, and we've got another tree, and this one is pretty significant. Check this out. Thankfully, in this situation, I'm hearing from the fire department that no one was hurt, but this tree just absolutely crushed this mobile home here. Again, no one was hurt here, and I did ask the fire department, who said that this family was home when the tree did fall on top of them right here, and all the fire department said was that they are very, very lucky. But check this out. The damage here and just the force of this wind. Alan, I'm sure you can speak to this a little bit more. This is a pretty significant tree with a pretty significant stump right here. And this wind just completely uprooted the tree, causing it to fall on this mobile home right here. So again, very dangerous conditions out here. I'm going to send it right back to you guys because we are actually going to be, because we're actually kind of stuck here. There's a lot of debris that's on the road right here, and so we got to move. We're being told to move by the fire department to get out of here so they can get over and clear this debris. So I'm going to send it back to you guys.
Yeah, go ahead and get out of their way if they need to do that. That's one thing I always want to do is make sure we don't get in the way of anybody who's trying to respond and help. So yeah, that tree looks like there may have been some rot in that tree as well, but that happens too. You know, these storms can come through and kind of clear things out a little bit. Brent Carney there reporting live from the field as we have had some wind damage around the area, and this batch of storms has mainly produced wind damage. So we'll check back in with Brent if we're still in the area. If not, I'm sure we'll hear from him on WEAR News at 4 o'clock, where we will have a live report or multiple reports and a live weather forecast detailing what's going to be happening going forward, because the worst of the weather is moving in. This is Destin. That's the view from the Emerald Grand condo towers. It looks like in and out of Destin there on the bridge. There is some traffic, but the storm is on the way. Hopefully those people will find a good spot to be. The bridge is the last place I'd want to be in a car with a storm like this moving through the area that has winds that could be up around 60 miles per hour. This particular area is under a severe thunderstorm warning. This view is from the Emerald Grand condo towers, the big tower right there at Destin. You're seeing in the foreground of the shot there, that is Noriego Point. To the right of the bridge is Crab Island, which gets packed with boats, nice shallow water where people enjoy beautiful days and beautiful emerald colors on the water there at Crab Island. You can see still some beautiful colors today, but it is a different scene there out of Destin as we are looking toward the west, maybe a bit southwest from this vantage point. It is raining there, and the worst of the storm and the heaviest of the rain is on the way, and it is going to be moving through that part of Okaloosa County and Destin. So we're gonna keep checking back in on this particular camera view and seeing how things look. So I'm going to take it back to our image now of the radar and show you what's going on. There is the worst part of the storm right over Okaloosa County, making its way toward Destin. Our camera, as we take it on in, I'll show you exactly where it is. Our camera is right there. So the Emerald Grand condo tower, that's right there at that spot. And we were basically looking in this direction. So a bit toward the southwest, Crab Island out this direction. There's the bridge, Noriego Point right there. And it was a good camera view that we had of all of that. So that's a map of the Destin area with the radar imagery on top of it. And then, of course, when you look at radar imagery like this, the reds and the deep reds and the oranges, that is the heaviest rain, the heaviest of the precipitation that we're seeing out there. The greens are a bit more light precipitation. And this, with a lot of data on this map, we also do have what is lightning detection, showing us where lightning has struck. Not going forward in time, but showing where lightning has struck. And we're going to be seeing more and more of those lightning strikes, the potential for damaging winds and very heavy rain that's going to be moving through, and that could cause some flooding around some of those areas. There's a three-dimensional view. We haven't really had any reports of hail, and these storms don't quite look tall enough to be freezing raindrops and dropping hail, although that's something that we watch for when we have a severe threat like this particular one.
And then some new data coming out of Pace, and at least a new report, some roof damage, Alan, out of Pace. I talked about the Woodlands subdivision. Specifically speaking there in Pace, that's on Bell Lane. There was a 2x4 that impaled a home, so likely some wind damage out of that. We're going to have Tanner Stewart in that area here soon, so he'll be able to give us a live report out of the Pace area. That was where we saw some wind damage. That was sort of at the tail end of a tornado warning that started in Bellevue, Escambia County, Florida, pushed through Ferry Pass, north end of Pensacola. That tornado warning carried on into Pace and Milton about an hour ago, and we're now getting some reports of wind damage. And this is, again, one of those things where the Weather Service will go out to Bellevue, Pensacola here, and in Pace, and they're going to see whether or not that was wind-driven strictly or if it was tornado-driven. It was a tornado warning in the area at that point in time, so certainly a lot to unpack there. This is not something we get here today. Obviously, as I kind of take Alan's radar and push you back off to the west, there's still a lot of rain out there across southwest Alabama. So it's due to be busy here for the remainder of the afternoon. You saw the tornado watch goes until 5 o'clock. So it's going to be busy, and we'll get those reports as soon as we can. But at least initially, we know that there was some damage there in Pace. Bell Lane in that area, seeing some 2x4s through a residential home. And actually, it looks like, as Alan shows me, it's only one lone county now under tornado watch. That doesn't mean the storm threat ends at 5 o'clock, but we're starting to chip away at this watch, and we'll likely have Okaloosa County out of this tornado watch before 5 o'clock. I'd say probably in the next hour, hour and a half. We'll have everyone in our viewing area, the WEAR viewing area, out of this tornado watch, but still storms will continue. A low-end severe risk, heavy rainfall will be the remainder of the day. So the worst of it out, but still, as you saw on radar, a lot more rain on the way. It looks like most of it will likely be offshore, but if you're right along the immediate coastline, could see some of this push on through. We currently don't have any flood alerts here for our area, which is some good news, but still really intense rainfall nonetheless, most of it falling in Okaloosa County. And glad to have that camera back, Alan, on the Emerald Grand, because we're going to have a perfect view of this line of storms. It's right over Fort Walton, Wright, Valpy, Mary Esther, sort of that area on the western end of Choctawhatchee Bay, Niceville too on the north end of the bay. And 85, I can't even imagine driving down 85 right now from Crestview to Niceville. A no-go. I mean, just the heaviest of the heavy rain falling right now over 85 as that splits off towards the bay. Lake Lorraine as well, Fort Walton Beach starting to get some lightning, likely hearing some of that thunder too. And it's knocking on the door. We'll have that camera view from Destin, I'd say probably T-minus 10 minutes. It's pushing pretty fast, about 40 miles per hour to 50 miles per hour to the east, but knocking on the door there in Okaloosa County as we switch over to our Destin camera view. So we're going to see it get gradually darker. Look how rough it is, by the way, as you look down US 98, even in the bay, even throughout the harbor area, it looks rough. And you can see on the left side of your screen, it's not all the time I can see waves that far out. So the visibility working to my favor right now, but it looks even rough on that stretch of beach line, Alan, at the end of the camera view there as we look west. Just really rough conditions, and now not the time to obviously be outside or even taking the car out. So
yeah,
I'd find a spot.
It's closing in on that area. We had an update from Mike Wood a little bit earlier, and he's going to update us again. So we're going to check in with Mike Wood from the Pensacola Police Department on what's going on with the roads around downtown Pensacola. Mike, you there?
I am.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us again here live on the air on WEAR TV as we continue to cover these storms that are impacting Northwest Florida. You're with the Pensacola Police Department. What kind of update do you have for around town?
Well, good news. The water's going down. The only intersection or the only road that we have closed currently is still 17th Avenue at the trestle. We have officers on the north and south side of that trestle, making sure that nobody drives in there. And if the rain holds off, we're going to have that one open very soon as well.
Okay, good deal. And I know that there were some cars that you had mentioned had, I guess, ended up stalling out. Anything happened with that, or any update on that?
Yeah, no injuries. We officers were able to get those people out of the vehicles. There was one on Garden Street and another one on Cervantes, but everything's okay with that. No injuries at all. Okay,
Mike Wood with the Pensacola Police Department. Thank you so much for updating us on this storm system. The worst of the weather is out of the Pensacola area. Glad to report that, but still a little rain and thunder and lightning for you guys. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the report from Pensacola as we check out the Destin cam. I want to go back to that because it really is closing in on that area. And I'm looking through my email too. Carl Flowers mentioning about the traffic light being operational and how Gulf Power's running lines with concrete poles and sort of alleviating that problem. Thank you very much for that email. Let's see. Bob Jones sent in something from Fairfield and 9th. That was a little bit earlier on. Amanda has some photos. Thank you for that, Amanda. Dane Gibson, all calm now in the New York community, 11 miles south of Jay down Shamuckla Highway. In that area, reporting about 2 inches of rain. No hail. and still a little bit of thunder. So yeah, so we're seeing around 2 inches of rain. We're going to get some more rain, but it's not going to be as intense as what we've seen. Although for Destin, it's about to get super intense, and they may end up with those 2 inches of rain, like what Dane is reporting out of the New York community there in Santa Rosa County. We've got, this is from just started to rain there. That's from Judy K. Thank you for that. Douglas Smith says that they're new to the area. They live in Crestview, and they appreciate the coverage of the storms as they pass through. So that's Doug and Dale Smith. Yes, you are welcome for that. We hope not to be on too much during the hurricane season, but I've been here 23 years, and we will cover those storms for you. And, you know, I had a couple people message me and send pictures of them or their kids in the house watching the TV and watching on their iPads or on their phones. And that's what I've been reminding people too. These storms can knock out power, so if you're prepared and you've got everything charged up, maybe even battery backups, you can catch our signal and watch us at WEARTV.com. So we are live streaming right now on WEARTV.com with those updates. I'm meteorologist Alan Strum here live in the WEAR-TV studios where we are watching these storms. It's closing in on Destin. We've decided to be on the air with you for this as there has been a threat and we have seen damage across areas. Certainly already seeing some of that from Pensacola. Brent Carney was reporting on some of that. It's mainly been fences and trees down and some utilities being impacted as well. That is the main thing that we have been seeing this afternoon with these particular storms moving through. You can see from Destin right there on your screen, it is continuing to get darker and the heavier rain is closing in on that area. Crab Island to the right, Noriego Point in there, and the Gulf is just off in the distance. So the worst of the weather is moving through areas from Crestview down toward Fort Walton Beach, and it is now shifting toward Destin and areas like Niceville, and then eventually we'll be moving into Walton County.
Pensacola live view out of Main Street.
Okay, let's check it out if we've got that live view.
Hopefully the rain.
So I'm guessing this is from Brent Carney's crew.
Right. Yeah, the
He
rain's
was
coming
with, who was he with? Marcus Morris?
He was with Marcus, I believe. And yeah, it's not raining quite as hard there, so hopefully getting some time to clean things up, let some stuff drain out. I believe the last look at the radar view was that the rain coming to a brief end in Pensacola. There's still more on the way. One other thing I want to mention too, and we'll bring this up, maybe on Max 2, we have some updates to the tornado watch, Alan. They've gone ahead and let us loose here, Escambia and Santa Rosa County out of this tornado watch. Okaloosa County still within this watch till 5, but like we said, officially till 5, but I think they'll probably cut Okaloosa County loose here in the next hour or so. The worst of the storms pushing in. We can go back to Destin, and you can see it just continues to get darker and darker, and I'm catching a flash of light every once in a while too as the lightning comes up. Alan?
Yeah, here's a message from Gulf Breeze. They say there are no plans to close the Pensacola Bay Bridge at this time. Now, that's a question. They're probably fielding a lot of questions from the public, and that's why they've decided to send that message out. That's a blanket text message that goes to anybody who subscribes to it, and I do. So that's going to be the case. Now, the bridge, they're only going to close the bridge if there's some threat that would warrant it, like a winds that would be of a significant value that they would need to close that. So that, and we're talking about this bridge right here. So that's open, but also, that message is coming out now while the threat has really moved beyond the Pensacola Bay Bridge and the bridge there between Gulf Breeze and Pensacola. It's still raining, still some thunder and lightning, but our threat now is, around Destin, Fort Walton Beach, Niceville. And the main threat is likely damaging winds. As we look on up the road here, you can see these orange colors and reddish colors around Laurel Hill. That's where the heavy rain is coming down, right on up there. Highway 85 runs on up into that area. I mean, it has just been dumping over 85. From Crestview down toward areas around Niceville, right, Fort Walton Beach. But it's closing in on Destin. It's going to be moving, over Choctawhatchee Bay and then shifting toward Defuniak Springs. Once it starts to get out of Okaloosa County, we're going to start to taper off our live coverage here on WEAR TV. So that's the Okaloosa County Walton line right in there. So we're going to be shifting our coverage and getting ready for our 4 p.m. newscast, which starts in just about an hour. So I'll also get a forecast ready for you and let you know what what we're expecting here through the rest of tonight, as well as in through the next several days. The weekend weather looks beautiful too, by the way, Joseph.
Yeah, it looks nice. The one last live report we're going to have here, Alan, before we let you go, is going to be from Tanner out of Pace, that subdivision, Bell Lane, and that subdivision of Pace.
Is he ready now?
He will be ready shortly.
Okay.
So that'll sort of be a nice stopping point unless we get another alert from the Weather Service, which seems unlikely. The worst of it now moving through southern Okaloosa County. As you said, the radar view tells the picture. Out of Crestview, the storms are now east along 10, and really it's Fort Walton Beach all the way up to Niceville and then down towards Destin, seeing the most intense thunderstorms. Still severe warned. That goes until 3:30. So we'll get a report out of Pace from Tanner, and I'm interested to see what live picture he brings. They're getting set up right now. So just a little bit longer, we'll get some more clarity on what damage we got out of Pace. But we've seen quite a bit, some wind damage between Escambia and Santa Rosa counties, and then we'll hear what we get out of Okaloosa County more towards the 4 o'clock show. If you're watching from Okaloosa County and you have something to report, I'd wait a little bit before you get out there and take a photo of it. Still lots of lightning being reported across Crestview, even though the heaviest of the rain has sort of shifted out. That's the 244 radar scan. It's now 3 o'clock on the dot.
It just paused because I was shifting to the camera.
Now, that's the Destin
This was
view.
about 15 minutes old. Yeah, so there's Destin. We'll watch that. And if you're in Okaloosa County and you're just joining us, thank you. We're live on the air from the WEAR TV studios with continuing coverage of this storm, as it has had a history of wind damage. And we just want to let you know what's going on with the storm. We did have a tornado warning earlier around Pensacola that included also areas of Santa Rosa County like Pace and Milton. We did have some wind damage, trees down, and as well as fences. That's what I've been seeing a lot of pictures of, is fences being blown down. But the worst has moved out of that area. Now it's here around Destin, Fort Walton Beach, Niceville. It's starting to move out and away from areas around Crestview, but it's over Okaloosa County where a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. We are live on WEAR TV from the WEAR studios. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum here, manning this weather desk this afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get through this storm, and this storm will be moving toward the east, and the worst of the weather will be moving on. If you want to communicate with me, the best way is via email. It's astrum@weartv.com. And I've had many, many emails come in, including one from Donna, who is saying that there's strong winds and high waves in the bay at Choctawhatchee Bay. Thank you for that. And it is going to continue to move over Choctawhatchee Bay, as that's where the worst of the weather is right now, where Donna is. Ann Peebles sends out a shout out here. Fort Walton Beach. Still seeing some pretty heavy rain and storm activity there for you, Ann, around Fort Walton Beach. Ezra Van Ryan is sending a message. Let's see, I don't see much in there. Let's go on. There's one from, there's a picture of a tree down. I'm just seeing more of that. Jay Royals, another picture there. Todd's asking the difference on the graphic between the yellow and the gray lightning bolts. Okay, Todd, I can answer that for you. Give me 1 sec. And we've got a weather station here with a rain rate per hour of 3.89 inches. That's going to be the rate, and that's when the heaviest of it falls. But as of 2:58, just a few minutes ago, don't have a name on this one. Oh, Brian in Fort Walton Beach. So 3/4 of an inch, and that number is probably going to go up for you, Brian. So there's a view from Destin. A little traffic on the bridge, and the rain is coming down. There's the worst of the weather closing in on that area of Destin. I had a question about the difference between the yellow and the gray lightning strikes. Let me bring up, let's do this. Let me take that radar off so you can see it. Okay, it's basically the age. So the age of the strikes, the newer ones are yellow and the older ones are gray. So if you look at this, we have a timestamp here, right up here. This is running through 1 hour's worth of data. And then within that hour, the newer ones are yellow, and you can see they're out around Defuniak Springs, and we've got a lot of gray ones, which are more toward the beginning of the hour, that are back toward Crestview as that storm is kind of shifting in direction. So that is your answer to that question, Todd, and anybody else who is wondering that. While we're at it, and I've got people paying attention, here's a question I get a lot. It's about a circle. I'm not seeing it on this image, but it might show up on this one. It's about a circle out over the Gulf. And unfortunately, I don't have the best answer to the question, but when we Okay, let's try. Somebody's telling me they believe it's on. Thank you, Jack. Did you see it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, somebody's talking to me right now. Well, all right. If anybody has seen that circle out over the Gulf, let me try to find. Oh, I know. Here we go. It'll show up on this one. There it is. Okay. So this is, see that circle south of Pensacola? When we selected these maps, we selected seafloor terrain, and we were hoping to get what would be sort of an accurate depiction of what the seafloor terrain was like. But in this case, there are these little anomalies. They're all circles, and it's basically just missing data. There's some off the East Coast as well. So these are done by like satellite imagery, and so those are we just need to ignore those, unfortunately. But a lot of people have asked me that over the years, so we'll answer that question too. Let's see, as we check, we're getting rain gauge reports of how much rain. Let's see, Matt got your email. Douglas saying we had 2.5 inches of rain, and that was up in that New York community, which is in northern Santa Rosa County. Let's see. What are you saying? Oh, Tanner's not. Okay, so we don't have Tanner.
It's taking a little bit.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna watch this for a little bit longer here live on the air as this does continue to move over Destin and Fort Walton Beach areas. Niceville getting kind of the worst of it right now. As far as alerts go, we have been watching, and there have been mainly severe thunderstorm warnings for this batch. It's now moving into Walton County. This Walton County starts to become a county outside of our viewing area. If you are in Walton County and you're watching us, please send us a note. We don't want to ignore you. We'd like to hear from you. If you are over there, astrum@weartv.com is the best way to reach me. I'm getting a note from Bob Jones who says 2 inches of rain in our gauge. That's in Scenic Heights. So that's going to be back in the Pensacola area. That is a rain report there from the Pensacola area. Rain is still going to be moving through areas of Santa Rosa, Escambia, Baldwin counties. In fact, when you look at this over Baldwin County, I mean, that's still some significant rain when you see those yellows and orange colors. You know, that's still a good bit of rain that's falling, but it's not the severe type of line that we're seeing where you see these deep red and orange colors here showing up on our map for areas of Okaloosa and Walton counties. So again, yeah, if you're in Walton County, do give us a shout. That is kind of considered on the outer edge of our WEAR TV viewing area. So as this starts to kind of move from Okaloosa County into Walton County, we're going to taper our coverage, get ready for our WEAR News at 4 show, and bring you, the weather and what's going on with the weather for the next several days. We had been placed in an elevated 4 out of 5 risk area. I'm going to see what it looks like now. Let me pop that back up. This is the severe weather outlook, and this shows a red zone. Okay, so now it's changed. So it just updated and shifted. Maybe you caught that for a second there. It showed the red zone, but it just updated. So we were briefly in this 4 out of 5 from about 11:30 this morning until maybe moments ago. And that 4 out of 5 is the real deal when you see that. And I'm glad to see we did end up with some wind damage, but we didn't end up, when you think back, and I think back to when we had those EF3 tornadoes. We had the Century tornado and the Pensacola one that was up there around the Scenic Highway area and just destroyed some of those condos. Those were days when we were in a 4 out of 5. So when I see that, I'm like, okay, the Storm Prediction Center is letting everyone know here across the northern Gulf Coast, look out. It is serious. And we saw that today, but glad to report we didn't see the tornadoes like we did with the Century tornado, as well as the one in Pensacola. So now our updated outlook shows an enhanced risk of severe weather that does still run from Destin. I mean, still the worst of it is, shifting toward Destin in those areas from Tefiniak Springs down toward Freeport, 30A area, Panama City Beach, and Dothan, Alabama. Those areas are under an enhanced 3 out of 5. So that's something we don't see that often around here either. I was saying earlier that 4 out of 5, that red zone, I mean, we see that sometimes we'll go a year without seeing it. Maybe sometimes we see it once or twice in a year. We don't like to see that. We saw it today. We did end up with wind damage, but fortunately we did not end up with severe storms running through. So this shows you The severe thunderstorm warning for Okaloosa County, also Covington County in Alabama, that is in effect until 3:30, and the one in Walton County is in effect until 3:45. We've got Samantha saying Pensacola. The question is, could have all of this been a derecho? A derecho is a little bit different. It would be more of a, this is more isolated. We would have been seeing sort of a longer type of storm line than what we're seeing with that. Wanda is saying raining hard, water is starting to accumulate. And where is this? This is, okay, I'm imagining Okaloosa County. I'm not sure. Let us know where. Somebody sent some more pictures in. This is, let's see. Jeff says, we're watching, hang in there. This is from Miramar Beach. Okay, so thank you to Dr. Jeff for that from Miramar Beach in Walton County. And Antonio, thank you for that email. We've got Jeff asking about things at the airport. I have a contact there, but I assume everything's fine. There may have been some, I would imagine there would have been some delays, especially with a tornado warning in place that did include the airport at the Pensacola International Airport, as well as other areas of Pensacola and Santa Rosa County. That was tornado warning earlier. So when these storms are going through, it probably caused some delays, I would imagine, coming in and out. So if you are, if you are flying in or out, or you're expecting somebody coming in, I would just check with the airline for that. So Joseph Neubauer has been in here with me as well, hanging out this afternoon, watching this severe batch of storms that's now moving from Okaloosa County in toward Walton County. And Joseph, have you seen anything in chat? Are you seeing anything new? And I'm going to take it back to our Destin cam as well, and we will take a look at how the view is from Destin if we could connect. There it is.
Yeah, right
Bit
over
of a different
Destin.
scene.
I was going to say, that is sort of our finale. I mean, it's still going to rain the rest of the afternoon. We're still going to have the possibility for heavy rain this afternoon, even into the evening. But if you're looking for the severe risk, it is quite literally centered over Destin, Fort Walton Beach right now, Choctawhatchee Bay, Niceville, the west end of Choctawhatchee Bay to be more specific. And you can't see anything, and I can't imagine driving along that bridge right now, Alan, is comfortable. You know, the wind probably 30, 40 miles per hour with gusts up to 60 possible as well. So visibility very poor there from the Emerald Grand, looking off towards Crab Island, US 98, that's the road you're seeing. That bridge that kind of leads on into the harbor. Beautiful area there in Okaloosa County. Severe thunderstorm warning goes for another 20 minutes or so, 19 minutes. 3:30 is when this severe thunderstorm warning is up in Destin, is up in Okaloosa County. And then after that, we're just going to see moderate rainfall kind of fill out the rest of the day. So whatever rain totals you get, it's going to add up, and we don't have any flood alerts currently in Northwest Florida, but we'll certainly keep an eye on that. If trends change, we'll of course let you know. But for now, this is the lone alert we have. Severe thunderstorm warning in Destin for potentially damaging wind gusts, and the heavy rain obviously speaks for itself too from that view. So one last little burst of rain. You can see the red colors popping up there along that Walton and Okaloosa County line. Good bit of lightning as well continuing. We didn't see any there on that camera, but it's out there. Hail hasn't been a major concern. We had some hail reports out of southwest Alabama, but these storms flattening out a little bit in terms of their heights as they pushed into northwest Florida. It was still tall enough to produce that wind and tornado risk, but they've come down considerably here over the last 2 to 3 hours, so the hail risk has not been quite as high. You know, Alan was showing you that these storms need to be closer to maybe 40, 50,000 feet where it's colder. That's where you get sort of the bigger ice crystals, the hail. And we just got a report there from our assistant news director that we do have Tanner Stewart live out of Pace. That was one of the spots we saw damaging winds.
Let's check in. All right, I see Tanner now. I can see, and hopefully we'll be able to hear him as well. Tanner, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Yep. Okay, that's good.
Alan,
all right.
Hey, Joseph.
Yeah. Hey, Tanner. So, tell us where you are and what you're seeing, please.
Yeah, Alan, we're on Thistle Pine Court. We're just in the southwest portion of Pace, not far off the Escambia Bay, a few miles. and we're here with Tom Lloyd, Public Safety Director with Santa Rosa County Emergency Operations Center. He's directing traffic. You can see fire crews coming in now. You won't be able to see it now, Alan, from where we're standing because there's a truck that just stood up, but there's a shed just off of Red Cedar Road in Thistle Pine Court here. Tom's going to come back with us and give us a rundown of what exactly he thinks has happened here so far, Alan. But if you can see, if at all, there's a cruise there and there's neighbors there, and a shed, we were told by the resident here, flew out of their backyard. And if we can, I don't know if we can see the side gate here, somehow the shed left the backyard and ended up right over there, Alan. And behind our photographer, he's going to stay put just for the meantime. But you saw the fire crews coming in, and we've been told there's damage to the house that you're looking at right now on the left side of that home. We're going to go over there and check that out here in just a bit, and I believe that Mr. Lloyd's going to be here hopefully any moment, Alan. But you know, we've been out in Santa Rosa County for all morning throughout this afternoon, and heavy rains, but we haven't heard of any damage in the area until now, so don't know the extent yet here on the street. Tom was saying that they've checked these few houses but haven't made it that far, so we don't know if the damage has spread that far. Here comes Tom now, give us a rundown of what exactly happened. Alan, Joseph, you guys still with me?
Yes, yes, Tanner, we can hear you loud and clear. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hear what you've got there.
Yeah, Tom, if you could, Public Safety Director Tom Lloyd with us now. Tell us what we're seeing.
So pretty significant weather event rolled through the Tri-County area. Excuse me. I believe it's over in Okaloosa right now, pushing east. So when the weather event came through, we're right now doing damage assessments in the Woodlands subdivision. Looks like pretty significant winds. Again, thunderstorms came through. We've got some shingles missing from homes, damage to fences. We do have a couple of homes that appear to have some type of or some structural damage. We have one house in particular that does have some fence posts through the side of it into the inside of the house. So.
You and I talked about the preparations and things like that earlier. Is this the first assessments that you've done all day, and you still feel like you're on top of things?
Yeah, we're most definitely on top of it. Preliminary assessments right now here in the Avalon Pace area, and we're out doing our thing. So.
Public Safety Director Tom Lloyd. Tom, I'll let you get back to it. We'll catch up with Tom here in just a bit. We spoke this morning also about the preparations that they go into well ahead of time on this, as well as communication to residents. They urge that residents stay alert through all your mobile devices. Make sure your electricity is constantly running, that you do have it when you do, and stay alert through all the weather apps, emergency management, social media. The list goes on for the different ways that you can stay aware. Alan, Joseph, you guys have been touching on that. We've been watching you through our website, through the live stream, and right now it's pretty calm, guys. The weather, the rain at least, has held up for the last little while.
Yeah, it's going to be tapering off. There may be some more rain coming through, but the worst of it is out of that area, out of that Pace area. And Tanner, that was an area that was under a tornado warning a bit earlier on this afternoon when we were on the air for that. Tanner Stewart reporting live from Pace. We've got our newscast in about 45 minutes. WAR News at 4. Tanner is the anchor there. I don't know if Tanner's going to be live in the field or I don't know if he has time to get back here and get cleaned up for the show. But at any rate, I'm sure we're going to be hearing from him on WEAR News at 4 o'clock. I continue to get some emails into the area or into the weather center here, watching from Sandestin, Santa Rosa Beach. That's Lindy. Thank you for that. I've got a report of 2.5 inches of rain from Milligan, Florida. Thank you for that. Here's one from Kevin, who says, I want to thank you for informing me and my family the storm would be in Pensacola at approximately 2 p.m. He does go on to say, though, that the work, his employer allowed them to leave at 1, and he left at 12:30 and got trapped right in the middle of the worst part of the storm. Roads were whiteout conditions, White River Rapids. My wife could not even make it home, was stuck down the road, and goes on to say, do a better job next time with storm timing info. My life and my family's life was put in danger, and a lot of other coworkers experienced the same thing. Of course, that's the last thing I want anyone to do, is be stuck in a storm like that. So first off, my apologies, and I do agree with you, Kevin, that the timing of the storm was different than what we had announced yesterday and last night. We had more of a 2 o'clock kind of for the Northwest Florida area, and this thing ended up rolling in sooner. And that happens the timing can change, and it certainly did change, and it ended up coming in a little bit earlier today. So my apologies that you ended up in that scenario and in your situation, but also thank you for taking in what we've got as we do try to deliver the best possible information we can regarding the weather and what we are expecting around the area. Let's see, we've got Jan in Miramar Beach saying that they can see Channel 3 just fine. All right, so we're hearing from Walton County as the storm is going to be moving through that area. Another report of 2 inches of rain and still counting. This one is in East Hill, a block east of N.B. Cook Elementary School, and that is from Larry. Thank you, Larry McDonald, for sending in that report. People are emailing me at astrom@weartv.com. Severe thunderstorm warning continuing for Okaloosa County until 3:30. The worst part of the storm is shifting into Walton County, where a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:45. So that's where the worst of it is. We're going to wind down our coverage here. We're going to stay on a few more minutes and watch this, and then we're going to wind down our live coverage and prep for our WEAR News at 4 o'clock show. And also remind people, a lot of people are watching on our live stream. So if you have your iPad, your device, your phone charged up and ready to go and you lose power, you can catch us on the live stream, WEARTV.com. I know a lot of people check us out sometimes on Facebook and such, but that's our live stream. And when a hurricane or a tropical storm, if that hits and you decide to leave the area, you can take us with you. So wherever you decide to go, you can catch our live stream at WEARTV.com, and we'll be giving you that information. Also, you can check us out on Facebook and Twitter and things like that. So the worst part of the storm is really over northern Walton County, really over Defuniak Springs, and it does shift back down toward Destin, and it's right over Choctawhatchee Bay. We've been watching our Destin cam. I'm going to bring that up again, and you can see how things look out of Destin if we're still in touch with that camera. We had our Portofino cam earlier on, and we couldn't see. There we go. We couldn't hardly see anything, and that's now the case. You could see Noriego Point right there in the foreground, and then the rain just really pouring now over that area. As the rain is coming down, I'm now seeing that traffic is lighter on the bridge. At least that's the way it appears. With a severe thunderstorm warning like this and with a severe threat, of course, the best thing to do is be in a safe spot and not out, on a bridge where we've had a history of wind damage and could continue to see damaging winds from this. There have been some flood reports as well. Nothing for Northwest Florida, but the National Weather Service did have some flash flood warnings back in the areas of Southwest Alabama and into Mississippi. But we have seen very heavy rain. In most cases, the reports we've been getting in have been around 2 or more inches of rain. There were some roads closed around Pensacola a bit earlier on, and the public information officer, Mike Wood with the Pensacola Police Department, he was on the air with us a couple of times telling us which roads were closed, saying that they had opened things back up. At last check, the 17th Avenue train trestle was still flooded out, and that was being blocked. They were not allowing traffic to pass through there because cars stall out. But as the rain subsides, that usually quickly drains out, and that may have been the case around there. So, yeah, we've been getting a lot of reports around town from different people. I want to thank everybody for sending in your emails and for checking out our coverage here live on WEAR TV as we're just looking at that storm out of Destin. Just a view of very, very heavy rain and virtually no boat traffic, of course, and horrendous conditions. Our Seatow Marine forecast was indicating that as well yesterday. So that's what we've been seeing. Dawn, I got your email as well. Thank you for that. Occasionally, we get some emails that are kind of fun and funny, and that's fine too. We've had some funny pictures come in. I'll look at them, all of them, and check those out. So thank you for those emails. Let's look again at our radar imagery. In the box next to me, you'll be able to see that, and we'll check back in with Joseph and see if he's got anything new for us here. Joseph Neubauer joining us here this afternoon as well. He was in with Brooke Richardson with our morning coverage earlier on, and he's hanging out through the afternoon with me, just letting everybody know what's going on with these storms and want to keep everybody safe. So there it is on radar imagery. Still a heavy-duty thunderstorm over Okaloosa County, where a severe thunderstorm warning continues that includes Niceville, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin. It's starting to move away from Niceville at this time. Right on top of Destin is where we're seeing the storm. Pretty heavy duty rain is what we're getting there. Could end up with damaging winds, and around the Choctawhatchee Bay area, damaging winds will be the main threat. It doesn't look like we're going to be seeing any hail, and I'm happy to report we do not have any tornado warnings at this time. For folks back toward Escambia County, rain's starting to pick back up in the northern part of the county here. Century, Walnut Hill, those areas, again, getting some decent rainfall down toward Gonzales. Those areas, Inslee, we're starting to pick up as well. So we're going to see some more rain piled on top of what we had, but we don't have the threat there that we used to have. In fact, the tornado watch now shows the only counties really that we're broadcasting out to included are Okaloosa and Walton counties. There may be some folks up into Covington County where Andalusia is watching. Maybe, if so, send me an email, astrom@weartv.com. But that is considered outside of the WEAR viewing area. So that's a look. You know, they've dropped the tornado watch for Santa Rosa, Baldwin, Escambia counties in both Alabama and Northwest Florida. Glad to report that. So we're not seeing the threat that we were a little bit earlier on. This bigger picture shows, you know, this rain stretches from Birmingham all the way down to the Gulf Coast, with the worst of it right now over Destin, Choctawhatchee Bay, and up toward Defuniak Springs. Joseph, you with me?
Yeah, I got
All
one
right.
more thing. I got one more thing out of the wind side, Alan. I was making a graphic here, just going over some of the wind gusts that we've seen today. This is the Max 2 product. If we can jump over real quick. Happy to report we haven't had any 60-mile-per-hour gusts, at least officially, from any of our airport sites. These are some official sites we have that we show you each and every day. And the gusts, the highest gusts, at least I've been able to pick out, have been 53 and 55 between Pensacola and Mobile. Regional airport there in Mobile, Pensacola International out of the Northwest Florida side of things. And I'm going to pause that and show you the storm reports too. Much more in terms of a storm report, frequency coming out of Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and even portions of Alabama. You can see not quite as much, but still a decent little batch kind of showing up along the southwest Alabama side and Florida Panhandle side. I told you guys there was a storm report out of Bellevue. We had some damage. We had Brent Carney out live out of Bellevue for some storm damage, some trees down. That report was not showing up on this page that we share with the Weather Service out of Mobile. I sent that report in, and here it is popping up there in Bellevue. Large tree down in the Bellevue community. We also had some damage from a residential home near Pine Forest High School as well. This was where Brent was, off of Pine Forest Road, kind of near the Community Ave area. There were some trees down, some lights or at least some of the electricity, some of those lights were kind of down, but there was still actually power up in that area. But yeah, we saw some damage out of Bellevue, and then we had Tanner obviously out of Pace. There was some residential damage there too, some down fences near the Woodlands neighborhood. So real busy afternoon, although it could have been much worse. We had no reports of tornado damage, at least here initially. Power lines is what I meant to say out of Bellevue. There were some power lines that were down, tree damage as well, but it looked like they had some power on. At least some of the lights were still on in that area in Bellevue, although I think they turned the power off, at least locally, because that is dangerous, obviously, for Florida Power and Light to be working there with live lines, so they turned that down. Some of the higher gusts we had along the coastline there, we had a 55-mile-per-hour gust out of Oriole Beach. These are some of these different sites that are in the water or right along the bay, or along the, I should say, the sound, at least on that end. And then really, if you're looking for the higher amounts of wind and even hail reports, that was off into Alabama, had some walnut-sized hail. That's about an inch in diameter out of Fort Morgan. This one, I'll show it again, Magnolia Springs there in Baldwin County. And then we had higher gusts in Mobile. I believe we were closer to 60. This was at Brookley Field. So a little bit higher of a wind gust there away from the regional airport. We had that 55 at the regional airport in Mobile, but down the road on the south end of town there in Mobile, it was closer to the 60s. And then as you saw, I mean, it just like exponentially more in terms of Louisiana and Mississippi. So we dodged a bullet, so to speak, in terms of the sheer frequency of severe weather reports that we could have had. We had that 4 out of 5 risk. Our friends out west were under a 4 out of 5 and a 3 out of 5, and that stretched all the way into Texas. They even had a couple of tornadoes on the ground along the line of storms that pushed through, really starting at midnight there in Texas and then extending all the way to about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it crossed the Mississippi state line into Mobile, Alabama, and it was still severe, warranted, but not quite as strong. We have a handful of reports there that I'm sure we'll add on to. And it looks like at last check, Alan, as we wrap up coverage here, severe thunderstorm warning in Okaloosa County, it looks like that camera view from Destin that you turned to the harbor, so we can go back to Max 1, rain beginning to subside there. So kind of coming to an end here across the area. Rain will continue. We're still going to have storm chances, but the severe storm chances, that risk coming down.
Yeah, and I'm getting a few more emails in. Got one from Donald and Pace. Thank you for that. Kristen as well from Destin, and that's that view right there from the Destin Harbor that we have, and we love that view. It's just a great scene there, looking out over the Destin Harbor at things around Destin. You know, there's Noriega Point, and you know, a lot of times this time of the year we see a lot of activity on the water, and we are not seeing anything, of course, and there's a severe thunderstorm warning for that area as we swing this back around, looking back toward the west. There's the bridge in and out of Destin, Crab Island right there to the right of the bridge, you know, as we check that out. So there is still an alert and a warning here for this part of Destin. It is a severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to drop in about a minute as this whole thing is really moving into Walton County, this whole storm. I'm going to show it on radar image. I'm going to head to the key here, Jack, and check that out. So you can see, yeah, it's still coming down pretty good. Let's check out Highway 98 too from this direction and see how the traffic is looking. You see the headlights there. It's moving. There's definitely some traffic. A lot of people out and about. It's kind of surprised me a little bit, but you know, that's their choice. My philosophy is to let people know what's up. They can make their own decisions on things. We were watching this view earlier from Portofino Island Resort, looking toward the Santa Rosa Sound. So again, even though we're not looking at a threat of severe weather here, we continue to see very heavy rain here from Portofino, looking out toward Range Point in the distance. It looks like you can make out the Gulf Breeze Peninsula there across the Santa Rosa Sound, maybe, but the visibility certainly not too good. So the tornado watch now has been dropped. That's an update here for Okaloosa County. So no longer is the watch in effect for Okaloosa County as the threat has moved on, and now that severe thunderstorm warning has expired as well. Walton County and these areas to the east are still under that tornado watch. And again, that's where the strongest storm is right now. You know, it's still around Destin. We're still seeing that, but it's not posing the severe threat that it did earlier on. So some gusty winds, some heavy rain with that, thunder and lightning, and then we do have a severe thunderstorm warning continuing until 3:45 over Walton County as this continues to move east at about 40-45 miles per hour. Rain lingering behind it. We'll be seeing this as we head through the rest of this afternoon and into the evening hours. We will continue with the windy weather. Winds will start to shift around, and we've got better weather over the next couple of days. High risk of rip currents will continue into tomorrow. Rip currents, that is our #1 weather killer here across the northern Gulf Coast, more so than all other weather elements and events combined. It's rip currents. So we will see the high risk of rip currents continue tomorrow. Hopefully calmer conditions for the weekend, which is what we're expecting, and also into the weekend. We've got beautiful weather with temperatures in the 70s. It's going to be fantastic. So severe thunderstorm warning continuing until 3:45 for Walton County there, but the threat now beginning to move on and move toward the east. I hope you join us for WEAR News at 4 o'clock. I'm Chief Meteorologist Alan Strum here live from the WEAR TV studios.